myself. Yes, I can. Hello, welcome to the live stream where we do it live. I am Tony, and my little friend Joan is asleep on the floor. This is Hollywoke Hot Take, where we do it live every Sunday at 7, usually. This Sunday, and many of the next following Sundays, I will be on time. Sometimes I'm not on time because I do events, because I have to do events to tell people about the Jersey Devil, because that all ties in with my book series, The Pineys. Somebody told me I never explain who I am or what I do, so thought I'd explain it today. So that's who I am and what I do. And now for the live stream. We're going to talk about the box office today. I have a few movie recommendations. So that's a new thing I've been trying to. I did some last week, and then I got a request for more. So we'll do a few of those. And as always, we're going to start off with the box office. So we're going to see just how bad it is in the movie industry. It's been bad. It's been really bad. We had a record-breaking Halloween, meaning like it was the worst Halloween in years on in cinema. I mean, it's just been, nobody's going to the movies. There's nothing out. There's nothing out that I want to see. I used to go to the movies all the time, all the damn time. And now I find myself looking at these trailers. I can't even find a decent trailer. That's really bad. When you look at trailers, I look at about 6 trailers a day at least, and sometimes I just despair and go, God, there's nothing. These are all terrible. And they're not terrible, like so terrible. Like sometimes they're so terrible I want to talk about them. Like those are fun terrible, right? They're terrible and they're boring. So that's just the wrong combination. If you're going to be terrible, be like really terrible. Be like, don't apologize for it. Just be as terrible as you can be. But I did get a nice comment this week. Usually I start talking about my week. I had an interesting week. I did a bunch of events. I can't even remember them all. I did like 5 this week. Okay. So I did the Senior Center at Ridgewood, and this is located in Smithville, New Jersey. And for those of you who don't know, Smithville is across from Leeds Point, New Jersey, and Leeds Point is where the Jersey Devil was born. So for the first time, and I do these talks where I talk about the origins of the Jersey Devil around South Jersey. So it was kind of fun to be really right in the heart of Jersey Devil country and to tell this story. And I was literally on Moss Mill Road, and down the street is the Jersey Devil house where the Jersey Devil was born. He was born somewhere along Moss Mill Road on the other side of the road. So that was fun. And I also found a new store in Smithville who may be carrying the Pineys, which I'm very excited about because I've been trying to get my books in a store down there for years. And long story short, it just hasn't been going well. Then I went to Zed's Beer in Marlton, told the story there, same day, so I had a double booking. And then I had a day off. Then the next day, I went all the way down to Bridgeton at Books and Buns for the Starlight Collective's book club. And then yesterday, I did 2 events again. I went to the 16th Magnolia Station train show. I'd never done a train show before, so that was kind of fun. Everybody was selling trains, you know, the toy trains. And there were a few other people there, but mainly it was all trains. It was an interesting crowd because the train guys, first off, they're almost all guys. It was all older guys, you know, looking for trains and train accessories for their model builds. And then on top of that, it was families because they're bringing their little kids to see the trains. So that was fun to watch. And then I went to the Vampires New Jersey Con 3, same day. This was last night. And I wasn't sure the situation at the Vampire Con. Initially, they told me, well, do you want to come in and do your talk? And I said, well, can I sell my books? And I didn't really get a definitive answer. They didn't say no. I think they assumed I knew that I could. And I had brought my table. I have an 8-foot table. I sometimes bring the shows. I kind of pulled a muscle, so if you see me grimace for no reason, you know why. But I brought it for the train show because I thought for some reason I needed a table. It turned out I didn't. But then I got to same day the vampire show, and they were like, "Oh, we got a space for you for your table. Did you bring a table?" And I was like, "Well, I did." But like I was thinking to myself, I didn't expect to pull out the table and like set up shop. So I did, which shout out to the girlfriend. She had made dinner for me that night and was expecting me a lot earlier, and I ended up staying at the Vampire Con because, long story short, I kept getting pushed back. Like my talk kept getting pushed back, and then I finally got to do it. Not that I'm, throwing shade at the con. Things are a little crazy when you're doing a con. They're very nice, and it's a good con. Very emphasizing independent movies and stuff. So I ended up being there a lot longer, and my girlfriend was very understanding. So, but here's the really interesting twist. This guy comes up to the table. Now, as you all know, probably if you've never seen the show before, this will be news to you. I do a lot of comic books. And so I've done comic books for years. And I did a comic book way back when called The Jersey Devil. And typically when I'm at a show, I bring Jersey Devil comics because it ties into the Pineys. And somebody comes up to the table, one of the other filmmakers, and they're like, "Oh, I've seen this before. I think I bought these." And I get that a lot in South Jersey because I did those back in the 90s. So I thought, oh, that's cool. He knows the Jersey Devil. But then later, he was back at my table again. And he looks and he goes, "I know this comic too." And he points to one of my comics, which is this one shot we did right around that time called Rodney the Alien That Smoked Pot. And it was just this one-shot stoner comic we did for fun. And I still have copies, so sometimes I sell them. And he goes, "I bought this comic back in high school." and I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I love this comic." And that was like the first time anybody had pointed that out for that comic. I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." So then later he comes back. And he says, because he had a table across the way, and he's looking at me the whole time, off and on. And like he's trying to like remember something. He comes over and he goes, "Did you used to do a public access TV show?" It wasn't public access, but whatever. "Did you do a TV show in Philadelphia about comics?" And I said, "Yeah." Because I was the host of the comic book show. And he goes, "Oh my God, I watched that too. You're blowing my mind." So this other filmmaker, a younger guy, was like, I don't know, I had like taken him along a journey back in the day when I made my comics. And when I did the TV show, which I was a big proponent back then of another comic called Scud the Disposable Assassin. And he bought that and thought it was awesome. JEC is here. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, 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 JEC. A little late tonight. I didn't get to do much advertising for the show tonight, so people will be drifting in here. Anyhow, this other filmmaker, he was kind of like he sort of reminded me of like the son I never had, because he was making crazy monster movies. He gave me one. I haven't watched it yet. I'm totally gonna watch it. It's called like Sodom Maniac. It just looks like a crazy kind of trauma-esque film. And I think I've influenced his work. So that was really gratifying to see someone who had sort of grown up with my comics and had been influenced greatly by them. So I gave him a bunch of comics, and I said if he ever needed a screenwriter, we should talk. So maybe I'll be writing a screenplay for him. I don't know. So that was fun. Yeah, that was the week. So it was crazy, and I got another crazy week ahead. I'll be at the Cherry Hill Library on Wednesday, the Little Mill Country Club in Marlton. It's very fancy. and then that's on was that Friday? Yeah, Friday, and then Saturday I'll be at Plagio's Winery in Hamilton, which may be a big one for me because last time I was there, I think I sold like 50 or 60 books, like a crazy amount of books. So I hope I do that again. Anyhow, let's get into the movies. Since JEC is here, we can talk about the box office. It's yet again a crazy box office because the number one movie is Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third installment of that weird magician movie. And I read some of the, well, I didn't really read them. I skimmed some of the critics, and nobody really liked it. They said it's kind of a TV movie, which is sort of almost the worst criticism you can give to a movie like this, because it's got a bunch of people who you know in it, and like they didn't spend no money on it, but they said it felt like a TV movie. That's like, oof, they really phoned it in if that's the case. Kind of not surprised. I had no interest in this movie. It's about a bunch of magicians that I think they commit heist for some reason. I think Morgan Freeman's in it for some reason. Was Morgan Freeman like 150? How's he still in movies at this point? The guy was old. The guy was old back when I used to see him on the Electric Company. Yeah, he was Easy Reader. He was like cool black guy, biker guy. He's like, yeah, I'm easy because I'm Easy Reader because he reads. I don't know. And he never got the character. But even back then, I thought, oh, that guy's kind of older guy. Like I think I was like 10 when I watched him, and I thought back then, yeah, that guy's old. And now, how old is Morgan Freeman? He's got to be pushing 80. He's got to be in his 80s. Morgan Freeman. He's born in 37. Holy cow. 37. So that makes him what? He'd be 90 if it was 2027, so subtract 2. He's 88. He's almost 90. He's almost 90, and he's in this friggin' Now You See Me, Now You Don't movie. Let's see. I think he's one of the cast. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Or he might just be like extended cameo guy. And the cast is like crazy big. Let me get to the cast. Here we go. Yeah, here he is. Morgan Freeman. So it's Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, Ilsa Fisher, Justice Smith, Dominic Sessa, I don't know him. I don't know her. Ariana Greenblatt, Rosamund Pike. That name kind of sounds familiar. And Morgan Freeman. Then you got Mark Ruffalo, Daniel Radcliffe are in it too. Andrew Santino is in it? Is that the comedian guy? Yeah, it is. I was just watching him on Bad Friends podcast, which is a great podcast if you haven't seen it. Him and Bobby Lee. Why is he in it? There's so many people I know in this damn movie. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cast members that I know off the top of my head who are reasonably famous. I mean, Santino's not that famous, but the other actors, they've all like pretty much headlined movies. There's a bunch of other actors. There's like 1 million people in this damn film. And it did not get good reviews. But let me see what Rotten Tomatoes say. Not that that's any kind of metric. Yeah, here it is. This one. Yeah, 59. I don't want this. No, I don't want this. Turn this off. Stop. Okay, there we go. Can I get on? Yeah, there we go. So it's at 59%. The critics hate it anyway. Apparently the masses kind of like it, at least on Rotten Tomatoes, for that what good that is. But you look at the Running Man. See, Running Man is 64%. It's fresh. But this is also getting really bad reviews. From the people I trust, anyway. And then, the popcorn meter's 79. I don't trust this at all. No way I trust this one. They're really trashing the Running Man as being like a completely soulless, pointless remake. Like the Total Recall remake. But this is what's at the top of the charts. So Now You See Me opens at 21.3 mil, and The Running Man opens at only 17. Now, what did this Now You See Me movie cost? It had to cost a fortune just for the damn cast. It's only made 40 million. It only cost 90 million. That's never going to make its money back. No way. Next week, maybe it makes another 20. So you got, you got 60, another 10, that's 70, another 5, that's 75. You add the week in that, maybe it makes 90, but that's the gross. So really, that's only about half its money. This thing's going to lose like 30 million, I would say. That's no bueno. Running Man, I would be shocked if this thing didn't cost 100 million at least. And I'm shocked because it doesn't say. I think I heard this cost at least 100 million. Whew, 28 million it made. And the trailer looked good ish. Edgar Wright normally makes a good movie. I mean, he's a pretty good filmmaker, right? I like his films. He's got a sense of humor. How did he F this up? This seems like a no-brainer. And he had Josh Brolin as the game show host. Josh Brolin's a good actor. Josh Brolin could have played the lead. So, that's no bueno. I don't think this thing makes its money back. No way. I think it has to be at least 100 million. Michael Cera's in it, too. And Michael Cera's funny when he wants to be. Everything I heard about The Running Man, critical drinker, neurotic, they both said brutal movie. I mean, this is where we're at. You got two top movies full of name actors, and they're just struggling at the box office. And like both these movies seem like easy wins to me. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. All right, it's magicians stealing money, right? So, with that kind of premise, it shouldn't look like a TV movie, number one. And number two, it should be good. It should have magicians in it, really. It should have a few real magicians in it. Maybe the other ones did, I don't know. And The Running Man, that should have been a blockbuster. I mean, I remember the Arnold one. That one's fun. It's, you can't say it's a good movie, really. It's an Arnold movie. And back then, we would go see Arnold movies. None of us thought he could act. No, we didn't think he could act at all. We thought it was a joke, and, we were in on it. Look at this guy. He's the lead of a movie. I'm, whatever the guy's name is. I'm the Running Man. I'm going to kill everyone. I mean, he was literally McBain back in those days. We didn't expect him to act. We expected him to kill people in cool ways. That was it. And he delivered every aspect of that. And we were just waiting for the lines. And we would laugh at him. At him. We didn't think the story was good. But it was entertaining. This sounds like it wasn't even entertaining. There are just some concepts. It's like superheroes. You try to make superheroes real. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work. What would happen if... And just recently I was reminded, and here's another story of my travels. I went to Books and Buns in Bridgeton, and in the middle of my talk, one of the ladies said, because I was talking about Ghost in Atlantic City, or I mentioned Atlantic City at some point. And she went, "Oh my God, did you hear they arrested the Atlantic City Batman?" Well, here, there's a guy, I wonder if I can find it. He calls himself the Atlantic City Batman. Atlantic City Batman gets arrested. He got arrested. So, yeah, here it is. This is the Atlantic City Batman. Oh, he's black. I didn't know he was black. Not that that makes a difference. I'm just surprised. So the Atlantic City Batman got arrested. But apparently, he was, oh, this is August. Oh, so this was a while ago. She made it sound like it happened yesterday. He got into a fight with somebody, but apparently he would pose for pictures and stuff and, like, you know, help people as best he could. Like one of those live action superheroes. And he pepper sprayed a guy, apparently, according to this. And then he had to apologize. Here he is, taking pictures. So, I don't know what this other AC stuff is. So, yeah, the Atlantic City Batman was arrested. And why? Well, because you can't be Batman. I mean, you can't. You can't run around punching people. You know, I mean, I guess if you were a super martial artist and a billionaire playboy with a secret cave, you might be able to get away with it because, you know, everybody would look the other way. Oh, he's a billionaire. We can't arrest him. I always thought that would be a fun take on Batman. Like, the reason he keeps getting away is because he's so rich. They tried to arrest him early on, and then they just gave up because he's just too rich. So everybody lets him run around and fight crime, but, you know, it's only because he's a billionaire. Be kind of a grim take, but, yeah, you can't be a superhero. So trying to make it real, just not going to work. You know, eventually their luck will run out. Like the Atlantic City Batman, you get arrested, get knocked out, get shot, whatever. You know, and then you add the superpowers into it. That's really not realistic. LeMay is here. Hello, LeMay. So the Running Man, not a very realistic premise. So you might as well have fun with it. Right? Don't try to make it real. I think that's what Edgar tried to do. Tried to make it like, oh, this could happen. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not in a million years. No. It's only movie stuff. And it's fine, but treat it like a movie. And Edgar, I mean, he has that sense of fun. I don't know what happened. It's possible the studio got involved and hacked it to pieces. I don't know. It was a big movie. And so this is no bueno. But here's the big no bueno. Predator Badlands drops to 3, but also drops 68%. Ouch. In its second week. Kraken is here. If you can get through alive, you can immigrate to the U.S. Oh, okay. If you can get through alive, you can immigrate to the U.S. Well, I guess. I'm not sure. What were we talking about? That we're talking about immigration now already? So yeah, I mean, Predator Badlands, that's a huge drop. And quite frankly, I was surprised it did as okay as it did last week. Kraken, the Running Man. If you can get through alive, you can immigrate. Oh, so you're thinking of a new Running Man where people have to run into the United States? Maybe you could do it that way, I guess. That's kind of an easy one, though. That's kind of easy. It's still kind of easy to get across the border. It is. You know, in San Diego, they had a trolley that goes to, I think it goes to, I want to say it goes to Tijuana or somewhere right across the border. And you could just get on the trolley and go into Mexico. Or you used to be able to. I don't know about now. They probably changed it. But people would get on the trolley and go to Mexico for the day. That was like the touristy spot in Mexico, I guess. I didn't do it. I was down in San Diego and I thought, ooh, I could go to Mexico. And then I thought, no, I don't want to do that. No offense, people in Mexico. I'm scared to go to Mexico. Especially now, there's all kinds of protests going on there. Right now, I don't think you want to be in Mexico. Although if you're a Mexican, maybe you want to be there to, fight the power or whatever's going on down there. I'm not totally up on it. Razor Fist was tweeting about that. But Predator Badlands, yeah, dropping 68%. It's at 136 million for a movie that costs 105. That movie is toast. Cracking. In the 80s and 90s, Mexico was a lot of fun. Was I down there that early? Yeah, I don't think I was. I think I didn't hit San Diego until the 2000s, but yeah, I can imagine. Back in the 80s, everything was fun. It was a fun time. Looking back on it, it really was. I didn't realize how much fun it was. So 105 versus 136. So you're, half of that. You're at about 78 million profit. Yeah, it might just break even on production, but I doubt it. Next week you maybe get 6, and then 3. Yeah, I think this movie loses money. What a shock! It's a Disney movie and it loses money. Disney cannot catch a break. They wokeified and Disneyfied everything. Now they Disneyfied, and I guess you could call it woke too. The Predator, and no bueno. But here's the thing. Even if this was a good Predator movie, I don't think it would have done much better. Now, it might have more legs, right? If it, actually was a Predator movie, right? Let's say this was the 3rd Predator movie we deserve. It's amazing. It's super violent, and there's some badasses in it. I don't think this movie would do much better. I really don't. I think people would look at it and go, oh, that looks pretty cool. I'll check it out when it comes to streaming. That's pretty much what everybody's doing now. Unless the movie's friggin' amazing and they have to see it, they're just checking out and saying, catch it on streaming. I don't want to pay all that money. It's past its prime. Bottom line. And I love Predator too. I talk about that movie all the damn time. And again, I think Predator versus Mad Max would be the next one. That would be the next logical step in the trilogy. But they didn't take that. I forget what was the one after Predator 2? Was that Aliens versus Predator, I think? Was that the next one? It was something else. So yeah, Disney ruins another franchise apparently. Oof. Dropping from 2 to 4 is Regretting You. This movie did punch way above its weight. I mean, who the heck expect a movie like this to go number 1? It made $83 million. It's a romance movie. If this thing cost more than $20 million, I'd be shocked. I mean, I think Dave Franco's in this one too. He's in a lot of stuff these days. Number 5, dropping from 3, Black Phone 2. I think they spent more money on this one, and I think they'll probably regret it. 127 million. No, it only had a $30 million budget, so they're good. they're good on that. That means third Black Phone movie. I think they're beating that to death, but whatever. Number 6, premiering at 6, is Keeper for $2.5 million. I don't like the looks of this movie. This is Osgood Perkins. And I believe, Tatiana Maslany is in it. And She-Hulk. A romantic anniversary trip to a secluded cabin turns sinister when a dark presence reveals itself, forcing a couple to confront the property's haunting past. Yeah, Osgood Perkins. No thank you. Mr. Longlegs, I'll pass. Longlegs really was not good. I will say, though, that Tatiana Maslany is a good actress, but she may have ruined herself with the whole wokeness thing. Who's Rosif Sutherland? Is this a Donald Sutherland kid? That's a boy's name? Son of Donald Sutherland. There he is. Okay, so keeping it in the family. A lot of Hollywood guys teed up their kids to be in movies. You got Scott Eastwood. You got this guy. Some of the girls, they're in the mix. I mean, I can't blame them. It's a good gig, right? You're handsome, you're young, you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to act and write. Sign me up. Sign me up. But, yeah, you should do like Nick Cage and change your last name, I think. Maybe not Scott Eastwood. His dad has such a great rep. I'd have kept that name, but... And even Sutherland, I guess, but... Got a weird name. Kiefer and... You got Kiefer Sutherland and Rosif Sutherland, whatever the hell that was. Number 7, dropping from 5, is Nuremberg? Really? $2.4 million. In its second week. Well, it's only dropped 37%. But it didn't start that strong, but okay. At least it's not doing something embarrassing like Predator Badlands, I guess. I don't know. How many times are you going to see a movie about the Nuremberg trials? I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old for it because I've seen so many. I have a friend who was actually in one of the versions. Or, well, he was supposed to be. He got cut at the last minute. The one with Alec Baldwin. What was that, back in the 90s? Number 8 was Sarah's Oil, dropping from 4. Also in its second week, only dropping 45%. Still having more legs than Predator Badlands. This is that Zachary Levi movie about a little girl who inherits like oil wells or something. Yeah, not my kind of movie. I don't think either. Well, let's see. Nuremberg, another big cast. Probably not going to make its money. $8.4 million. That thing's got to cost like $30 million. Sarah's Oil, $8.6 million. I don't think that makes its money either, but it's from Amazon, so they kind of don't care. You know, it'll be just more content for the site. At 9, dropping from 6, is Begonia. Did anybody see this film? $1.6 million. It's made $30 million, and thus completing the ruination of Emma Stone. I really liked Emma Stone, and now she just keeps appearing in these Yorgos Lanthimos films that I have no interest in whatsoever, and they always make her do something weird, and I don't know. I don't know why she's doing it, but I think she thinks it's art, I guess. Feels very pretentious to me. It's the same thing with Osgood Perkins, like, except his pretension is only in horror movies. And for some people rave about Osgood, but I just don't get it. That Long Legs movie, I was just like, what the F, man? It starts okay, and then it just goes nowhere for me. Number 10, Chainsaw Man. Anime, still hovering in the top 10 after 4 weeks. $1.6 million. Wicked. back in theaters, 1.2 million. Smart move, since the sequel's, I don't think it's out yet, but it's coming out. 12 is Die My Love in its second week, dropping 63%. Not good. Not even $1 million. $977,000. Jennifer Lawrence she's kind of hovering between being a red flag like Britney Spears and finally getting more sensible, right? She started this week, she was talking about how she was annoying in interviews early in her career, and that she's got to get out of politics, and that celebrities should get out of politics, which I was like, good for her. But then she also said, like, it's really hard when you make a movie and people don't like it, which is like, I don't think she meant to, but it sounds like you're a millionaire complaining about your job. Like, you can't complain about that kind of stuff, I would say. And then she said something other. She said, she started crying because it was, I don't know, like it was hard playing a crazy woman, I guess, in the movie. She's a really good actress, though. Still pretty cute. And I'm a little surprised that Die My Love, wasn't good, because Robert Pattinson's not bad. Sissy Spacek is in it, too. And I think Nick Nolte is in it. So, it's... Unfortunately, maybe it's just the wrong time for these kinds of movie. 6.1 million. Grace, a writer and young mother, is slowly slipping into madness. Locked away in an old house in Montana, she acts increasingly agitated and erratic, leaving her companion Jackson ever more worried and helpless. Yeah, and it's just not a movie. I mean, who wants to see that? Right? There's a lot of movies they make now. It's like, I'm not sure who these movies are for. I get it, like, a lot of women like to see sad movies and have a good cry. Okay, I can accept that. It's not my thing. I wouldn't want to see it. It's the last kind of movie I want to see, but I get it. And somebody in the comments who was a man said, well, I'm a man and I like those sad movies too. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. But, like, this movie, it's not only sad, like, it's kind of disturbing too, right? I don't know. I can't see... I guess I could see some people kind of at certain times in their life wanting to see a movie like this, but I don't see it as a very big audience. It seems very niche to me. And unless there was maybe something more at stake, maybe if there was a chance, like, Robert Pattinson's character can get her help and save his family kind of thing. But it just seems like, who the hell would want to see this? It just seems like it's going to end sad and depressing. Yeah. Jesus Adorno is here. Hey, Tony. Hey, Jesus. Welcome. I'm going to have some movie suggestions today. My first list of suggestions are Clint Eastwood directed movies. Clint Eastwood directed movies. He's in a bunch of movies he didn't direct, but here's the ones I like that he directed. Number one is, of course, Unforgiven. I love that movie. Number two is Gran Torino. Number three is Flags of Our Fathers. Number four is Invictus, which I was very surprised how much I loved that movie. Number five is Pale Rider. Number six is High Plains Drifter. These are all the, westerns. I didn't write the numbers down. 7 is The Outlaw Josie Wales. Number 8 is $1 Million Baby. Number 9 is Sudden Impact, which is a Dirty Harry movie. And number 10 is The Gauntlet, which is, it's not Dirty Harry, but it's kind of a version of it. So there's my favorite Clint Eastwood directed movies, and I have sports movies and westerns coming up. All right, but back to the list. Next up is Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, coming in at 13,800K in its fourth week. I'm sort of glad this movie bombed. I feel like it was too soon. I feel like Bruce Springsteen is a little too full of himself, and I kind of wanted him to be taken down a peg by this movie not being good. No shade to the actor who did look like him, but yeah, it was too soon. Like right after Bruce dies, a movie like this, okay. Like the year after he dies, be perfect to do a Springsteen movie. Not while he's alive and touring. Just, I don't know. Not the time to do it. Number 14 is Tron Ares, or as Indy Phantom calls it, Tron Ass, or Tron Arse. Indy Phantom not here today. 620K, still somehow in theaters in its sixth week. But pretty much I think we're agreed this is a bomb. 140 million gross on a $180 million budget. Forget it, man. It's Chinatown. That's $70 million profit against 180 cost. I mean, there's a friggin' $100 million burned up in the air. Can you imagine burning $100 million? I mean, that's like Joker levels of waste. $100 million. I was just at that Vampire Con. There were all sorts of filmmakers in the room. You know what they could do with $100 million? Holy cow. It would just be ridiculous, the amount of creativity, right? Even some of the movies. Now, some of the movies just look like schlock horror or whatever. But for $100 million, I mean, it would just be nuts what they would do. It would be absolutely nuts. I would love to see, like, imagine if Elon Musk showed up to a con like that. He would never do that, but imagine he shows up and he said, you know what? I'm just going to give you all $100 million to split amongst the room and see what you could do with it. Like, imagine that. It would be insane. The amount of stuff that would come out of just that one group of filmmakers suddenly having all this money. Now, a bunch of them would waste it, I imagine. But I bet there would be a bunch of really cool things that would come out of it. But Disney, I mean, they just piss away $100 million these days, right? How are they still in business at this point? How are they still in the movie business when they keep pissing away money like this? Because Predator Badlands is them too. How many bombs have they had this year? I've lost count. Must be like 5 or 6. That's unbelievable. Clocking in at somewhere around 15 is One Battle After Another from Warner Brothers, $500,000 in its 8th week in 251 theaters. You'd never guess this was a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. From the outside, cracked 200 million on 140. Well, it did better than Tron Arse, but still going to lose money. And they're trying, the rumor is they're trying to market it as a comedy on streaming. Jesus, I have a question. How do you balance discipline and motivation when you're writing a screenplay or script? All right. Yeah, let's answer that. Like, this list is just depressing. So, balancing discipline and motivation when you're writing a screenplay or script. Well, really, when you're writing, you have to have, and I think JEC can relate to this, doing comics. In comics, you have to draw every day. Otherwise, you're never going to make your deadline. Oh, he's got another question. Jesus also says, also, I saw One Battle After Another with my dad. It's a solid film. Oh, okay. I don't know. It didn't look bad to me, but I wouldn't go to the movie theater for it, judging from the reviews. But I kind of was had it on my list to maybe watch it on streaming, but now I'm kind of like, turned off of the politics on it. But anyhow, the motivation is you got to do things every day, right? You have to do a little bit every day. So prior to my current incarnation of traveling around South Jersey selling books, which has been going fairly well. I mean, I'm surviving. I was working at a car lot and parking cars. I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was not bad because it was outside a lot. I mean, a couple of times the weather got really rough and I didn't like that. But for the most part, I enjoyed being outside parking cars. And so when I would go home, I would set aside at least an hour a night to work on my various projects. So I do the Webcomic Factory every day. Well, these days I'm only doing it about 4 times a week, but then I was still doing it every single day. And so I had to get that done. And I update the Superfrat site too, which isn't as much, but some days I do 2 strips and then other days I just do 1. But doing it every day makes it a lot easier. And I had to stop doing Webcomic Factory on the weekends just because I'm too busy on the weekends now. I'm almost always doing a show and I almost always can't get to it. I literally one weekend I forgot to do it. And then it was Monday and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even update the site this weekend. And then from then on in, I haven't updated a weekend Webcomic Factory since. But doing things every day really, really helps. So even if you only turn on your computer, and I did this, I've done this with the start of a Pineys book. I turn on the computer and I just get the page ready to write. Like I put my name, the Pineys book, whatever, and the title, and written by Tony DiGerolamo, copyright 2025. And if that's all I get done, I save it, and that's it. And then the next day, and you got to look at it like a long distance runner. So each day you do a little bit more. So in a long distance runner, you're not going to run a marathon, right? You're not going to go out your door and run a marathon. You would work up to it. So it's the kind of same thing with writing too. So you start, when you get back into the swing of things, you just write 1 sentence. And the next day you write 2 sentences. And the next day you write a paragraph. And then the next day you write 2 paragraphs. And then the next day you're at half a page. And then by the end of the week you're at a full page or more. And if you keep doing that every day, writing a page or 2 every day will be nothing. And writing 4 or 5 pages when you need to will be nothing. I was in a crazy mode when I was ghostwriting. That was a little different because there was almost no bar. The bar was like all the way on the ground. All I had to do was literally type off the top of my head. And I would just blast out sometimes 10 to 15 pages a day. I was just writing these scenes, mostly because I kind of didn't care. And the quality, they didn't care. They didn't care about the quality all that much. It had to be coherent, and that was about it. So they were fine with it. They did most of the corrections. I sent it to them, and they loved it. So writing off the top of my head was the bar for ghostwriting. And during those days, man, I was cranking out stuff. Holy crap. I was cranking out so much stuff, I would sometimes read it the next day and go, I don't even remember writing this. It was just coming right out of my brain. So, you just got to do things every single day. Now, motivation-wise, if you don't want to do it, then go sell real estate. If you got to want to do this. I can't motivate you. If you don't want to be a writer, don't do it. I don't need another competitor. I don't need another screenwriter in the mix. Believe me, there's plenty of guys who suck at it. And they write screenplays all damn day. And some of them even get money for them because they're actually better at selling the screenplay than they are at writing it. There are plenty of filmmakers. They're writing screenplays all the time. They all suck at it. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them aren't very good writers. They don't work on the craft of writing. They're just doing the screenplay because they have to. It's the only way they can make the film. So they're just cobbling it together. The idea of them going to a skilled individual who specializes in screenplays, like it's usually way above their budget, for whatever reason, or they're just like, I could write it. And it's not like they're completely lost in it. It's just that they're at like first grade writing scripts, and I'm all the way up here in the master's class. So it's very frustrating, especially when you have filmmakers who will hand you a script and says, oh, this is the script we're doing. Can you write something like this? And then you read it and you go, oh my God, what is this mess? I don't even get what you're doing here. And then you ask them and they explain it to you, and you realize, as filmmakers, they're basically just putting notes down so they could film something, and they got a bunch of ideas in their head that they haven't articulated in the screenplay. So the screenplay really, to me, is the architecture of a movie, and you're building that plan so they could follow it and then do the movie. But the other problem is too that filmmakers will get the screenplay and then they just do whatever the hell they want, and you can't stop them. So, it's very tough to motivate yourself. I'll tell you what motivates me: money. You want to give me $20,000 to write a script? You're gonna get a script. Oh, you're gonna get a really good script. I'm gonna give you the greatest script ever, because I want that $20,000, man, and whatever royalties I get on the back end, or whatever you get paid. So, hey, Jesus, that's good advice. I usually have solid ideas and I have the motivation to write scripts. Just need the right discipline. You gotta do it every day. Every day. Force yourself to write something every single day, and you'll be surprised. By the end of the month, you'll wonder, and the same thing is true if you take a day off, right? So you might take off the weekend and then come back on Monday and go, oh man, it's a little harder. Just keep doing it every day, and by the end of the month, you'll be like, this is nothing. And as always, I recommend improv classes. That really helps, because improv helps you grind through ideas, and you won't be so precious about them. And that's what stops a lot of screenwriters. They get so precious about their ideas they can't move on, or they're trying to make something work because they're too precious about it, and it's just not working, and they should throw it away and do something else. So I just did that the other day for the Pineys. I'm working on book 20, and I had this idea, and I was really trying to make it work. And then I realized, oh, wait, I could just throw part of that away, and now it'll work. And then now I'm moving forward. So, as they say, the saying is, kill your darlings. You have to be able to kill your darlings. So even if you have what seems to be a good idea, it may be stopping you from moving forward in the overall concept or the overall screenplay, or in my case, the novel. So, all right, I could go on and on about that, but let's get back to the list. Number 16, Sentimental Value. In its second week, up 90%, but that's only because it was only in 4 theaters last week, and then they jammed it in a bunch of theaters. So it's an art house movie. This has the guy from the MCU who was the scientist guy. What's his face? Skarsgård, I think. It looks like a very serious movie. Art house movie. Next up, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Infinity Castle. Of course, the longest title in movie history. 186K. Finally going out of theaters in the 10th week. Underneath that, though, is Roofman, which looked like a perfectly serviceable rom-com, but it didn't seem to do too well. In its 6th week, 165K. I mean, back in the day, this movie probably would have crushed. Roofman would have absolutely crushed the box office. You got Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst Um, it would have absolutely crushed back in the 90s. Now, again, there's like, I was saying this on a video, like you are competing against literally everything in human history at this point. When I go, and most of you, when you think, okay, I'm going to watch a movie, right? You can now look at every single platform you have access to, and even the ones you don't, you just have to pay the money if you want access. So you have so many choices, right? I mean, my girlfriend just grinds through movies and TV shows, grinds through all of them. She's watched almost everything on Netflix, like everything. Now, she sort of half watches them while she cleans her apartment, but she just grinds through everything. Netflix, Amazon, any platform she has access to. It's really tough for us to find a movie to watch together sometimes because she's seen them all, or at least she's seen part of it. And so when a movie like Roof Man comes up, and that's sort of in her wheelhouse, it's a rom-com, you know, it's just more content. It's just another rom-com. She doesn't have to go to the movie theater to see this thing. It's going to eventually land on one of the platforms she has access to, and then she'll see it. Maybe, or part of it. And, it's just another one of these pretty forgettable movies. All these movies are pretty forgettable. Even this movie, Good Fortune, which I wanted to do better for Aziz Ansari, $140K in its fifth week, going out of theaters. I mean, back in the day, Seth Rogen and Keanu Reeves starring in a comedy movie, I think this movie would have absolutely crushed the box office. Now it's just there. It's just there. I thought it would do better. But it's just not a movie people are talking about. 23 million? This movie might not have cost very much, but 23 million still seems pretty low. Seems pretty damn low. I still kind of want to see it. I'll probably catch it on streaming, but I'll catch it when I catch it. Like, Seth Rogen probably killed this movie for me, if I'm being honest. Keanu Reeves still makes me want to see it, and Aziz Ansari, but Seth Rogen is like the fly in the ointment. It's like, but it's going to be on, let's see, it's Lionsgate. I don't know where it's going to be, actually. Back to the Future at 134K back in theaters. It was just an accident. Another movie I really do want to see, an Iranian sort of thriller movie at 122K. Then Muzzle, City of Wolves. This is an Aaron Eckhart movie premiering in 575 theaters. Ouch, only doing 90,000. That is no bueno. Aaron Eckhart, Two-Face, you may remember. He's very solid in the lead, in the action lead, I think. And this movie looked okay. I mean, it's him and a dog teaming up to fight crime or whatever. But it's from IFC, so again, it's just content. That's another movie I'll probably eventually see sometime. So it's weird. It's like, I was just at this Vampire Con, and there's a lot of indie guys there talking about how to get seen, how to get their movies pushed forward, or their projects or whatever. And it's like, how do you make your indie movies move forward when you've got these mainstream movies? They can't even get attention. They can't get anybody's attention. I mean, this looks like a perfectly serviceable movie, right? It's Aaron Eckhart as I think he's an ex-cop who was like in a canine unit, or he's got a canine who helps him, and like, I don't know, he's fighting crime. I forget the plot exactly, but it looks perfectly serviceable. I mean, remember Turner and Hooch with Tom Hanks? That movie sucked. This movie looks better than that. It's the same sort of concept. I don't know. Why is this? Maybe it's because it's IFC and it just doesn't get enough eyeballs on the trailer. Uh, just doesn't have enough money behind it, you might say. But again, who's going to see movies? Gabby's Dollhouse in its 8th week. Good riddance. Made 65K. Peter Huja's Day. I don't know how this... it's still in 24 theaters. They actually put it in more theaters in its 2nd week. It looks so pretentious to me. I don't know why they did this. Towards the bottom here, in 2 theaters, Arco. What was this movie? Oh, it's some sort of cartoon. Looks like an anime thing. Oh, I know what this is. Okay, so Arco, I saw the trailer. It looked really dumb. But it's like whimsical. So the idea is there are these people who live up in the sky and they can fly. And that's why they live up in the sky. And Arco, I think, is the son of one of the beings. And he knows that he shouldn't go flying until he's older. But he goes anyway, and he crash lands on Earth where the normal people are. And then he befriends a girl on the ground and takes her on... flies her around, and he's trying to get back home, and he can't, and people are trying to grab him. Yeah, I guess it doesn't look bad, but I don't know. It's a Japanese thing, I think, more than anything. Surat, also in 2 theaters. Not sure what this is. No, no write-up. Let me see if it's on the IMDb. Surat. No, it's a foreign film, so it's not on the list. Surat. Yeah, I don't know. But it's in 2 theaters. It made $34,000. Rebuilding from Bleecker Street. They make a lot of small films. Dusty is a reserved, divorced father whose ranch has burned down in a devastating wildfire, now living in a trailer community on the government-run campsite. Dusty finds solace with his new neighbors who have also lost everything, quietly reassembles his life, and starts reconnecting with his ex-wife Ruby and young daughter Callie Rose. All right. I guess it sounds okay. Again, I don't... who would go to the theaters for that, but sounds perfectly fine for a streamer, I guess. Rounding out the bottom of this list, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. I don't know why. $19,000. Mistress Dispeller, $4,234. Don't worry, Cat Video Fest 2025, still in theaters. Still in 2 theaters. $3,535. And Peacock, I don't know why they bothered. 9 weeks this thing's been in 2 theaters? It's crazy. $932. This is a German comedy. It's been in theaters for nine weeks. Not a lot of them. Somebody must have loved this movie, or it must be... Is there a German-speaking area of the country I'm unaware of? That's why Peacock is running continuously there, so all the Germans can see it? Oh, you had another question, Jesus. I did not see it. What got you into screenwriting? Was it the craft, or was it a mix of writing, storytelling, and literature? It got me into it because I wanted to make movies. And I concluded that writing the screenplay was the most important element of that. So I wanted to work on that and be really good at it. And then as I tried to do the other stuff, I realized, nobody's listening to me. And I don't have the money to do the things I came up with in the script. And I also had to learn the business a little bit. And so I kind of ended up in screenwriting because the other aspects of it, I don't know, it didn't work out for me in terms of the acting and directing and whatnot. I tried to do some of it. I did various projects over the years. it's really a money thing. If I had had the money, I'd have directed something, put together a movie, because you just buy your way into movies, really. Um, so and I felt I was pretty good at screenwriting. So, and that was my major. It was actually my major in school. And as it turns out, nobody in Hollywood cares about a good screenplay. Um, so I then went from screenplays to comic books, hoping. And now I got into comics before the MCU and all, and the movie industry blew up with comics, and I feel partially responsible for that because right at the cusp of that, I was working with guys who were doing comic books. They were doing graphic novels for Disney during the writer's strike because that wasn't technically, they could get around the union that way and develop projects while the union was on strike, was the idea. And then when they came out of it, they went deep into comics and sort of haven't cured themselves of it. And then I ended up in novels because I realized, part of my problem was trying to rely on other people. Like with movies, it was partly the reliance issue, but it was mostly the money issue. You just need a good chunk of money to make a film. I mean, to make a good film. And then you need a lot of time and money to fly around the country. I know a guy who made a pretty good documentary on a famous film critic. And it's a real documentary. Like, he eventually sold it, I think, and he got it on TV, the whole thing. And he had famous actors and writers and famous Hollywood people in it, made some connections. He's now back out in LA trying to sell a comedy screenplay. Godspeed to him. I don't feel like he has a great chance. Like 30 years ago, maybe. Now I feel like he has virtually no chance. He's kind of my age range, white guy, not a long string of credits for comedy. In fact, he didn't have any comedy credits I'm aware of, but he has some money, so he spent money, like doing all sorts of things. I've heard on a screenplay, and if I had his money, I would just make a movie, but I don't have his money. So, and now the Pineys is doing really well for me. I'm getting good responses from that, and I feel like I'm building on something. So I'm sticking with that. I know everybody's sick of me talking about the Pineys, but it's really great. I mean, I really have a good time doing it. I think I found my niche, and I'm making a living on it. I'm not making a great living, but I'm surviving on what I'm writing, and that's always all I ever wanted, really. With screenplays, like, I had a shot at it, and I took various shots over the years, and I came close a couple of times, but it could have gone the other way. They could have rained money down from manna, but it didn't happen. Storbang. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Am I right? Yeah, to some extent. But I know people who can't get in. They know people. They cannot get in. They've been banging their head against the wall for years. So, is it talent? Talent plays a huge factor, I think. You kind of got to be relentless. You really have to be relentless, and you really have to love it. So, like, for me, I did stand-up for a while, but I didn't love it. Dave Attell, if you've ever seen comedian Dave Attell, there's no one on the face of God's green earth that loves stand-up more than Dave Attell. That guy loves doing it. He loves it. And I've heard that Dave, he doesn't have much of a social life outside of just doing stand-up. But he loves it. He loves that life. He loves being on the road. He loves working on material. He loves doing jokes. God bless him. He loves it. He loves it. And I watched Louis C.K. on Bad Friends podcast, and Bobby Lee asked him for stand-up advice. And if you have any interest in doing stand-up, you should watch this episode of Bad Friends. It's the one with Louis C.K. He was just on. And let me tell you, Louis gave him some great advice for stand-up comic. And Bobby Lee's been doing stand-up for a while, and he's very funny. He's very funny, and he's had a few specials. He's got a new special. He's famous for telling that crazy story about he was, I don't know if I could say this on YouTube. I hope I don't get flagged. He was molested by he claims by a individual with Down syndrome when he was 9. You have to see that clip. It's one of the craziest clips on a podcast ever. But he's very funny, and but he feels like I think his stand-up has sort of stagnated somewhat, and it hasn't really brought him over to the next level, whatever that is. And Louis gave him some amazing advice to sort of, work on his craft. And that was it for me with stand-up. I didn't really want to work on it as a craft. I got bored of it really easy. In fact, I would work up the jokes. I would tell them once, and then I'd be like, I don't want to do these jokes again. But I came to understand, after years of doing improv and doing the Jersey Devil stuff, like, oh, I get it. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, eventually you start honing it and crafting it. So when I do the Jersey Devil stuff, it's almost like stand-up for me. But I loved honing that and learning more about history and the Jersey Devil, but I didn't love doing it for my jokes. It just was boring to me. Because once I told the joke, I was, Jesus Christ. You have to see the clip. You have to see the clip. You've heard it out of context, but you have to see the clip. Because he's telling the story to 2 other stand-up comic guys. And I don't know if it's a real story or Bobby made it up for the clip, but you have to say it. He's telling it to 2 other guys who do stand-up and are doing a podcast. And then he's telling them, hey, I'm being very vulnerable here, and I'm telling you a serious story. Don't laugh. And then, of course, they're trying not to laugh, but he keeps telling the story, and he keeps changing the way he's telling it, and he makes it worse every time he retells it. So it makes them, they're trying not to laugh, but every time he changes a word, they start trying not to laugh. So you got to say it. Yeah. So this was a very long-winded way to talk about the business, but you got to love what you're doing. If you love writing screenplays, and I did for a long time, I loved writing them, but then I got frustrated that I couldn't get any of them made. And I tried everything to get my screenplay in front of people, but nobody reads screenplays in Hollywood. They don't care. They don't really care about writers. So I eventually came to the conclusion that I had to make a name for myself in something and then go into Hollywood and then sort of like present myself as the guy who did X, and that way they would listen to me and read my screenplays. So my first idea was to become comic book guy, like the guy who wrote all these crazy comics that sold a lot, and then I could go to Hollywood and say, oh, I'm the guy who writes all these comics. I wrote this and this and this. So I tried to break into the comic book industry. Well, that didn't work out too well either. I eventually got into The Simpsons, but that cred is only good in the world of comics. Nobody in Hollywood really was impressed by that cred. A lot of other people are impressed by it. Certain other people in comics are impressed by it, but people in Hollywood don't care. And I eventually got creds in like Politically Incorrect and a couple other places. But by the time I got those creds, they almost didn't matter anyway. And I realized that comedy is a young man's game, and I was getting older. And so eventually the comic book thing, I just burned out on comics. And I tried to make the move to web comics when web comics were big, but that didn't work. And now they're doing web comics as movies. Again, you got to hit on the internet. You got to hit for something. So now I'm doing the Pineys, and I feel like it's slowly hitting. So I'm sticking with that. That's why I love the Pineys, because I feel like it's working. Finally, something's working. You know, I have a lot of other stuff. I love the characters and I love the stories, and I would go back to them in a hot minute if they worked and I could make money off them. But, you know, I had this 4-issue miniseries called The Fix, and I love that friggin' character. And I had a ton of stories for it. I just couldn't sell it. I sold it 4 issues. It just didn't work. I had a novel with it. I just couldn't sell it. But the Pineys, oh yeah, I could sell the Pineys all day. And I do. And it's awesome. Anywho, write what you know is another piece of advice. So the entire box office this week is 74 million. Man, that sucks. What was last week? I think it was around that. Last week was 81. And the week before that, that was Halloween. And that was 56. Whew. Wow, that's low. 56. I mean, these are just horrific numbers. And this is November 14th. Next week is Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving weekend's going to be a freaking disaster for movies. JC, when's American Thanksgiving? The exact day, I believe, is the 27th. Let me just double check that. When is Thanksgiving 2025? November 27th, yeah. So that's next week. This should be a big movie week. And it won't be. Nobody's going to see The Running Man. I bet The Running Man drops off a cliff with the reviews it's getting. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Probably same thing. Predator Badlands will go down the tubes. What the hell is going to be number one? I don't even know what's going to be number one next week. It's not going to be Keeper. So what the hell's coming out next week? Let's see. Coming soon, IMDb. Here's the upcoming releases. So November 17th, Nirvana, the band behind the show, the movie. That's the 17th. That's on Monday. A Figly Christmas. Okay, so here's what drops next week. Wicked for Good. Okay, that'll be big. That'll be huge. That's the movie that'll be huge. Also, Sisu, Road to Revenge. This is the only movie I really, really want to see this year. So I may actually go to the movie theater for this if I can find a place that'll play it. Jesus, if there's any film that'll make the most money in December, it'll likely be Avatar 3. Probably. Wicked for Good, that will definitely make money. Sisu, Road to Revenge, I don't think most people saw the first one. It's awesome, by the way. I hope it makes $1 billion, but it won't. Rental Family, that might do okay because it's Brendan Fraser. But it's getting okay reviews. Alter, which is a sci-fi action thing from Tom Felton's in it. That's going nowhere. Kahuko, I don't know what that is. Blue-Eyed Girl. Beau Bridges, Eliza Coupe, that's going nowhere. Cactus Pears, some drama, I don't know what that is. STZ, comedy horror, totally going nowhere. Sky Gen Movies is here. Question, I wrote a screenplay. I want to send it off to some writing contest, but the idea of my script has an idea where I am trying to protect it from being stolen. What can I do to protect it? You can send a copy to the Copyright Office now that the government's reopened, as I do with the Pineys. and you can copyright it. It costs $65. You can do it through their electronic system, and you can do it all online, and you'll get it back. You'll get a copyright back in about 2 to 3 weeks. Or they say 2 to 3 months, but usually I get mine back in 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm praying I get my copyright back on Monday. You know, there's not much you can do in terms of like somebody who actually is determined to steal your screenplay. You can copyright it, and if they steal it word for word, yeah, you could sue them, and if they make money, you'll probably get some money, I guess. But if they like steal your general idea and then change it, it's going to be really tough. But I wouldn't worry about it. Everybody worries about being robbed of their ideas. I wouldn't worry about it. Just, you know, do the copyright. It'll be in the Library of Congress. You'll get a thing, and it'll have your title on it, and that's enough protection, I think. The quickest way to do it, and people will tell you, just mail a copy to yourself, and you get a cheap copyright because you post dated it. You know, it technically doesn't work. I mean, you could do it if you want. I mean, it's not. I've done it a bunch of times for like little things. I didn't want to pay for the copyright office and pay $65. But if the screenplay is important to you and you put a lot of effort into a screenplay, I assume it's feature length, send it to the copyright office. Pay the $65. I pay the $65 every time for the Pineys books. So all the Piney books are copyrighted. I can't upload them onto Amazon without copyrighting them, but I would have done that anyway. Technically, that you finished it and put copyright 2025 on it, and someone other than you read it, technically that's copyright. Technically. But you'd still have to prove it. The copy in the Library of Congress is proof. So if you have to go to court, you have something to show the judge. But realistically, almost nobody ever sues over this kind of stuff. I knew, let me tell you this story. But first, let me read the next couple of comments. Hey, Zeus, I do want to see Wicked for Good. Okay, it's your funeral. I just got a screenwriting program fade in thanks to my mom helping. What I can hope is that I make a habit of where I write daily for some stories. I know I got passion projects, and that I'll save later. Yes, just write every day. Force yourself to write. So I'll tell you a story about a guy who got his screenplay stolen. I was working on the Jersey Devil comic book in the 90s. I think this was around issue 5 or 6. And at the time I was working at a comic book store too. No, it would have been earlier then. It would have been like around issue 1 or 2. Anyhow, I'm working at the comic book store. And I also am trying to sell my screenplays. And at the time I was working with a guy, I did have screenplays for The Father the Son, Mafioso the Father the Son, which was a mafia guy screenplay, and then a horror movie called The Evil Within. Well, that's like a local guy who hired me to write those screenplays. While I was working with him, he had a casting agent who was working on another project. And this is how you network with people, you know. So the casting agent had heard I did a Jersey Devil comic. And so she calls me up and goes, I have this guy, and he's got a screenplay about the Jersey Devil, and he wants to do a Jersey Devil movie. And he's got some financing, but he's crazy, and we think his script is terrible, and we want you to fix it. And I was like, great. How much you going to pay me? And they're like, well, and then came the big discussion like, well, we don't want to actually pay you. We have to get him to pay you. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet with him. Because I don't work for free. Don't work for free. Anyhow, I met the guy, and he came, and he insisted on meeting like immediately. So he, you know, relatively immediately. And I was like, well, I'm working. Can we meet somewhere else? He was like, well, I'll just meet you at work. And I was just like, okay. So he met me at the comic book store, which, you know, usually the comic book store was pretty dead anyway. So I met him at the comic book store. So he asked me what my background was. Now, keep in mind, he's got a screenplay and wants to make a movie about the Jersey Devil. So I said, I'm a screenwriter, and I rattled off my credits. I had some credits at that time. And then I also make a comic book on the Jersey Devil. And by this time, I was like, I'm a bit of an expert on the subject. I had read most of the books on it. And he goes, well, yeah, that's pretty good, but I don't think you're right for this project. And I'm like, you don't think I'm right for a Jersey Devil screenplay? I'm a screenwriter, and I know all the history of the Jersey Devil. He's like, no, I think you'd be better for this other screenplay I have. And he called it, I believe it was called something like Tallahassee Lassie. And I was like, Tallahassee Lassie? What the hell is that? I said, well, I'm not really interested in that. They asked me to talk to you about the Jersey Devil screenplay. He goes, yeah, I don't think we need you on this. Well, the people who wanted me to write the screenplay sent me a copy of the screenplay, and I read it. And it was probably one of the worst screenplays I'd ever read. I mean, it was just terrible. It didn't make any sense for a lot of scenes. It didn't feel like it was written by a guy who lived in New Jersey, that was for sure. And it just was terrible. And then I had a meeting with the people who wanted to hire me. And I was like, well, if you pay me money, I'll write you the Jersey Devil screenplay. And they were like, well, we can't pay you money. I go, well, then I can't write the screenplay for you. They go, well, here's what we were thinking. Write the screenplay, and then we'll push it on him, and then he'll have to pay you. And I go, that sounds like an insane plan. I'm not doing that. So get me the money or forget it. I mean, I would like to write a Jersey Devil screenplay. I think I'm perfect for it. But if you're not going to pay me money, if you're just going to give me this empty promise that maybe we could, shake this guy by his ankles and get the money, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I said, get me the money first. And they're like, no, well, we can't. I'm like, well, I can't help you. So then they kind of went away. And then months later, I heard that, now I don't know how true it is, so I don't want to talk out of school here. I heard from other people that he may have stolen the screenplay, the terrible screenplay. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard, so I have to say that. And there was another guy who wrote that screenplay, and he completely, apparently, again, I don't know that for sure. This is what I was told by another source, that it was completely stolen. Like, if you're going to steal a screenplay, steal The Godfather. That's a good screenplay. Or steal Star Wars or something like that. Don't steal, like, I mean, the guy who allegedly wrote the original screenplay, like, he was just some guy. Like, he wasn't a screenwriter. He wasn't in Hollywood. He didn't have a deal or anything. He just apparently took this screenplay and decided to, I don't know, make it without the guy who wrote it. So eventually, the guy who wrote it got the screenplay back, and I don't know, he was trying to make the movie. But I read it, and I just thought, this is the worst thing I ever read. So I guess it's possible that somebody who could be grossly incompetent, in my opinion, could steal your screenplay and then attempt to make it or finance it or whatever, but I think it's highly unlikely they would ever get it made. I think it's also highly unlikely it would look anything like your screenplay. And I just think in general, you shouldn't worry about people stealing your screenplay. You should just go to the copyright office, copyright your screenplay, and don't worry about it. There have been rare instances. If you want to read about another instance, a famous one, there's the lawsuit against Eddie Murphy's movie Coming to America and Paramount. I guess it was against Paramount. So Art Buchwald apparently pitched a screenplay that was basically Coming to America, and then I think he accused Paramount of stealing it and then sued them over it, and there was a big lawsuit. So you should read about that if you're very interested in that kind of thing. I wouldn't worry about it. These guys, They wouldn't know. 99% of the people I met in Hollywood, they wouldn't know a good idea if you literally bashed them in the face with it. They are looking for everything but a good idea. They'll ask you, do you have a star attached? Do you have a director attached? Do you have any financing? They'll ask every question in the world except what the story's about. So I won't worry about that. You could pitch them good ideas all day. Their questions won't change. They want to make a movie that makes money or furthers their career. That's the movie industry. So there are guys that all they do is attach themselves to projects. You know, oh, I want to have a meeting with you on this movie. And then you have a meeting with them and nothing happens in the meeting and they don't really bring anything to the table. But then 6 months down the road, if you get financing, they'll say, oh, I'm attached to that project. We had that meeting. And then you have to negotiate with them because they're basically trying to claim that some level of knowledge about the idea or whatever. And you might have to throw them a credit just to shut them up, or else they'll threaten to sue you or, you know, ruin your reputation in Hollywood. So that's why nobody can get a meeting in Hollywood too. Because there are guys who just attach themselves to projects. Oh, I'm attached. We had that meeting. I'm attached. Yeah, it's that crazy out there. But now that there's less and less money in Hollywood, this is why you just sort of do things on your own. This is why AI, you know, actors are going to actually be a good thing. Because when you and I can just take AI actors and put them on the screen in our computers and make them say whatever the F we want, and just keep doing it over and over again until we get it exactly right, and then drop them into a scene in the Pine Barrens in my case and have them do stuff, it's going to be great because I will be able to make the Pineys exactly the way I want. And no one will stop me. It'll just take forever because I'll probably have to do it all myself and I'll have no money. Yeah, so that was another long-winded answer to your question. Go to the Copyright Office. But, yeah, so continuing on with the 27th is... So here's the 27th Black Friday Thanksgiving weekend. Oh, Sky Gene Movies. Thank you. Second question. I have the script completed. First draft, it's 120 pages on PDF. I'm in the middle of rewrites. If I sent you money, would you consider reading it for feedback notes? I absolutely would. I absolutely would. Contact me via email and we'll discuss it. I don't work for free, but I do work cheap. Indie Phantom is here. Shit, very late, Tony. Running Man bombed. Yeah, I got beat out by that magician heist movie, which is also getting terrible reviews too. Terrible. We're talking about Thanksgiving weekend. It was another terrible weekend, 74 million. So next weekend is not Thanksgiving weekend, but the weekend after. So 2 weeks we're looking at. This is what's coming out. Chris Hemsworth, A Road Trip to Remember, a documentary. Wildcat, that doesn't look too bad, but I don't think that's going to be a big hit. It's Kate Beckinsale. Zootopia 2, that should do well. Zootopia 2 should do well. Eternity, Miles Teller and Elizabeth Olsen. Can they bring in people? I kind of doubt it. It's another rom-com, but it takes place in the afterlife. The idea is Miles Teller dies, and then his wife dies, and he meets her in heaven, or he waits for her in heaven, and then he meets her, and then she had a boyfriend before him who died that he never knew about, and now she has to determine, who do I spend eternity with? Do I spend eternity with my lost lover who died early, who I was totally in love with, or do I spend eternity with my husband who I spent 30, 40 years with, and now we're both dead? I mean, that would be kind of a rough shaft, right? You spend 40, 50 years for a woman, you wait for her in the afterlife, and then she goes, oh, you know what? I'm going to go off with the guy I met in high school who died early. Like, phew. That's not going to happen, by the way, but still. Indie Phantom. Yeah, the first Now You See Me's were quite ass, if I'm being honest. They didn't look great. Miles Teller is less box office than Glenn Powell, I think. Sounds lame. Elizabeth Olsen, maybe, as Wanda, might bring some people in. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's going to be. I mean, like, when Albert Brooks did his version of this, which was Defend Your Life, that was a pretty good movie. And that was Meryl Streep as the romantic lead, right? I think it was Meryl Streep. And the trailer for it was really good. The trailer for this looks fine, but it looks like something you'd see on TV. It's like, it's okay. It might be watchable, but no one's going to the theater for that. Except Black Friday, where people kind of don't have stuff to do, so maybe they might go. But again, they're competing with literally every freaking thing in human history on every platform. So it's Black Friday, right? We just had Thanksgiving. My fridge is full of turkey and stuffing and all kinds of goodies that I can eat whenever I want. I got Friday off, or maybe you have to work. Some people got to work on Black Friday. Indie Phantom, defending your life is fun. These are the best eggs I've ever had. Oh, right, because you can eat what you want in heaven. That was a good scene. So it's Black Friday. You got Thanksgiving leftovers. Your choice is to be a moron and try to go to the store to buy stuff. I don't know who would bother at this point with Amazon and online shopping. It sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like you have to be one of the dumbest people alive, I think, to try to take advantage of Black Friday sales. It has to be like, okay, the first 4 people get a free car kind of thing, or something like that. Then maybe Jesus, LOL. Then maybe, yes, okay, maybe you're going to go to a Black Friday thing. Otherwise, like, there's going to be Black Friday sales all over Amazon. So some people will be off, right? Because you're off on Thanksgiving. You're off on the weekend. Some people take the Friday, or they're just so checked out on work and they leave early, whatever. Depends on where you work and what your job is. But Friday's like a day people are completely checked out. So some of them might go to the movies. But it's usually, in history, it was a big day. It was a huge day. Because we're like, oh, I basically had the day off. Yeah, let's go to the movies. But now it's not really a thing. It's more like, well, let's watch a movie and eat our Thanksgiving leftovers. Jesus, rewatched Back to the Future, but in theaters. Just watching the film reminded me of why I love movies. Yeah, that's a movie you come out feeling great. I remember those days. You'd watch a movie like Back to the Future and come out of theaters like energized. I'd come out so effing pumped to write a screenplay after I got out of Back to the Future. I would go home and immediately start working on screenplays when I got out of a movie like Back to the Future. I remember those days, and they were great. The world seemed full of possibilities. Silver Star, crime drama. I don't know what that's about. And then The Weekend, Tinseltown. Jesus Christ, this looks like an abomination of a movie. Watch the trailer for Tinseltown if you want to really like vomit into your hand. Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland in a comedy. And to my knowledge, I don't think he's ever done a comedy. Has he? No, I don't think he has. He's always been a serious guy. And let me tell you something. He should never do a comedy again. Because that looks abominable. And you know who's in it? Who does look I'll say this. She looks okay in the movie because she's done comedies plenty of times as Rebel Wilson. So she looks comfortable in the movie. Kiefer Sutherland looks like, I don't know, it might be a hostage situation for all I know. Holy cow, does it look bad. And Kiefer Sutherland's the lead. He's an actor, movie star, father who's gone back to England to star in a Christmas play and relearn the meaning of Christmas and reconnected with his estranged young daughter who he's ignored, who's a little girl like 9, and Rebel Wilson's going to be the one to help him, and it looks god awful. And they're billing it as a comedy, and let me tell you something, that movie will not do well. No way. No way. Zootopia and Wicked for Good will be the top 2 movies that weekend. Which, it'll be probably an okay box office then. Because you'll have all the women going to movies and all the families going to movies, I guess. And everybody else will be like, movies? Yeah. So that's about it there. Alrighty. Now let's get into the trades, where we really find out that there is no God. As I like to say, my friends I would get Variety delivered to the house back when you could. I mean, you still can, I assume, but it cost back then. This is in the 90s. It cost $120 a year, I think, because it's daily. It comes to your house. It doesn't come every day because you're getting it on the East Coast. It would come in they'd send it media mail, so you would get 3 or 4 issues from that week, and they would just keep coming to the house. And people would say, "Why are you getting Variety delivered to your house?" And I would be like, "Well, because it confirms that there is no God if you read Variety. It really does. The trades are just god awful. They were worse back then, I think, because it just completely undermines the magic of movies when you read them and how phony everybody is. Now it's better because they're kind of not as bad as they were back then. Back then they were completely a trade magazine, I think. So all the ads for the Oscars were all over the trades, and you'd read them and go, you guys spend all this money trying to get an Oscar? Don't they just pick the best ones? No. Indie Phantom Kiefer has done comedy like Flashback with Dennis Hopper. I don't remember that. He directed a film that was almost unreleasable. Might have had comedy elements, but not sure. His only director effort. Well, let me tell you, watch that trailer and tell me that's not the worst thing you've ever seen. Renegades is more buddy action, but I like it. Oh, okay. Flashback. Was that kind of a sequel to Easy Rider? Sky Gene Movies. Thoughts on the movie I Play Rocky 2026. It's in production now. It's a movie about making a movie. A new trend in the future. Yeah, kind of. It's going to be a very short-lived trend, I think. It's kind of like the concert movie trend. Taylor Swift saved movies one weekend, and then Beyonce said, "Oh, I got to do that too." And then she kind of saved movies that weekend, but not really. She didn't really chart as high as Taylor Swift because she's done, comedy's a young man's game, but pop music, that's a young woman's game. You got to be young, and Beyonce is no longer young. She was at the top of her game for a long time. She made a lot of money, but yeah, it's kind of over. There's a reason she's going into country music. That's what old people listen to. Every older person I know at my age, they all love country now. They didn't love country back in the day. Oh, no. They hated country. Oh, now they love it. JEC, Disaster Artist was another. He was in Disaster Artist? Indie Phantom. Flashback isn't too memorable, but Hopper was a hippie and Kiefer was FBI. Sort of vaguely remember that. But, man, watch that Tinseltown trailer. I'm just telling you. He is so bad at it. Oh, speaking of movies, let me give you another list of movies. All right, this was your request. You asked me for sports movies that I like, because I'm not a sports movie guy. JC, Disaster Artist was a movie about making... Oh, movie about making a movie. That's right. That was James Franco. James Franco was in that. Yeah, I think... I mean, nobody really saw Disaster... or what was the movie he made? I forget the name of the actual movie he made. But nobody saw that movie. So that, to me, would be an exception. But, like, a movie about making Rocky that everybody saw is... sort of like okay. It's like that. You know what? They made that. I think Miles Teller was in it. It was the movie about making The Godfather. That I hear is really good. But I know a lot of Italian, so take that with a grain of salt. Storebang, I want to make a movie about Neil Breen making movies. The Room. Oh, right. The Room. Yeah, that's what it was called. Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening for a short time, right? You could do one about making Rocky. What else you could do? I mean, you would have to take a big star and recast everything, right? That's part of it. They're remaking, or they're doing a prequel to Rambo. It's going to take place in Vietnam. Probably have the same guy star as Stallone, right? That'd be perfect. But who else can you do? I guess you could make a movie about the making of Conan the Barbarian, for instance, and then have Arnold make a cameo or something like that. Have him talk about it. Sky Gene Movies. The Offer was awesome. I heard it was awesome. Storebang. See, not make. What did I say? I messed that up. Sorry. What's another big movie? I mean, they already made The Offer, so that's about The Godfather. I mean, they could do one about Taxi Driver. That would be an interesting one. You could recast De Niro and Scorsese. Could make a movie about making Star Wars. That would be kind of interesting, actually. But probably the wrong time to do that. Sky Gene Movies. I would love to see a movie about how they made Halloween. JC, Heaven's Gate. Oh, that would be an interesting movie. I'd almost see that if it was made right, you know. Because Chris Christopherson's dead, and he was the star of that movie. I don't know. It might be too late to make that one. But the movie about how they made Halloween, that could be really cool. I think the horror fans would like that. Anyhow, this is my sports movies list. So, now this first one, you may not consider a sports movie. I saw it on another sports movie list, and it is one of my favorite movies, so I put it on the top. But I understand if you completely discount it as a sports movie, and that is Caddyshack. Number 2, however, is The Longest Yard. That is definitely a sports movie to me. I know it's also a prison movie, but The Longest Yard to me is awesome. Number 3 is Major League. I really like Major League. Number 4 is The Bad News Bears. I think that's a good movie. And, you know, some of the later Bad News Bears I like, too. After that, Rocky 2. Those, to me, are the best two of the Rockies. As an Italian, I was obligated to put Rocky on the list. After that is Moneyball. I love Moneyball. I think it's a really good movie. Kingpin, because, you know, it's about bowling. Somebody mentioned The Big Lebowski on the list. I would say that's not enough of a bowling movie to put that on there. But as soon as they said bowling movie, I said, you know, no, Kingpin's a bowling movie. I don't think The Big Lebowski counts as a sports movie. But Kingpin, I think you could argue, does. Then The Wrestler. Although, really, The Wrestler is about a professional wrestler. It's not really a sport in the classic sense. So I get if you want to take that one off the list as well. And then North Dallas 40, which if you haven't seen, it's a pretty old movie, but it's a funny movie about football players. And then honorable mentions to Rocky 3, Rocky 4, White Man Can't Jump, The Hustler, and The Color of Money, which are both about pool. And you could probably add Slapshot to that and a few others. Again, I'm not a big sports movie guy, so a lot of them I realize, doing these lists, you realize all the movies you haven't seen. So that was my sports movie list. JC, Jeff Bridges. For Heaven's Gate? I think it's... Wait a minute, who's in Heaven's Gate? Isn't Chris Christopherson in Heaven's Gate? Oh, it's the wrong Heaven's Gate. There it is. 19... Yeah, Chris Christopherson. Christopher Walken's in it. I didn't even know he was in it. John Hurt? Man, look at all the people in this clunker. Chris Christopherson, he's the star. Christopher Walken, John Hurt, Sam Waterston, Brad Dourif, Isabel Huppert, I don't know her, Joseph Cotton. Jeff Bridges is also in it. You're right. Jeffrey Lewis. I think that's about it. The people we would probably... Oh, Mickey Rourke is in it. When he was still handsome. 1980, he was still good looking. Wow. A lot of people. A lot of people in this. Wow. Holy cow. A cast of thousands. William Dafoe is uncredited? William Dafoe is in this? Sam Peckinpah? Scenes deleted, though. Bet he was happy about that. Holy cow. Wow. What a cast list. JC, Cleopatra. Did they make a movie about the making of Cleopatra? I want to say they did. Sky Gene Movies. Field of Dreams is my favorite. That could be interesting. I think it's a little early to make that, but you could. JC Bridges, too. Indie Phantom. Good list. Rocky 2 is the only one of the series I still need to see. I love The Wrestler. Also need to see The Hustler, and I love The Color of Money. Yeah, me too. JC, Walken is the villain. Indie Phantom. Bull Durham is a great sports comedy, and Raging Bull would be up there. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Raging Bull all the way through. So I didn't put it on my list. And I kind of don't... I'm not super in love with Bull Durham. And I never saw that all the way through, too. So there were certain ones I just didn't even really see. Sometimes I put movies on the list that I've seen partially or most that I know or I liked, but yeah, I couldn't put Bull. I didn't feel right putting Bull Durham on because I've only seen about like a quarter of it, and I kind of didn't like it. But anywho, let me take a short break before we get into the trades because I gotta pee. Little Joan, you're up. All right. Time for you to entertain Little Joan. All right, I'm back. What horrible things did Joan do? JC, yes, Joan, I heard about Trump. Uh, Trump blowing Bill Clinton? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Hey, Sue's been thinking about the Back to the Future trilogy lately. I really think they're a great trilogy of films. I do too. I really enjoy. I celebrate the Back to the Future trilogy. JC, Joan, he's the president. Don't call him that. They're called homosexuals. That's the proper term. Now. All right. Where was I? All right, we're looking into the trades here. Now You See Me 3 swipes 21.1 million. That's not a lot of money for this film, I think. But okay, a crow all you want, I guess. Sky Gene Movies, For the Love of the Game is a great baseball movie. Yeah, I'm sure The Natural is too, and there's a few others. Field of Dreams, I should have probably put on the list, but I just don't. I'm not so into sports. JC, it was in the Epstein emails they released. Epstein was asking if Putin had seen the pictures of Trump going down on Bubba. I think that had to be a joke. Mahesh Babu, SS Ramjuli, and Priyanka Chopra Jonas epic adventure titled Varanasi, first footage unveiled. So this is the guy who directed RRR. So I don't know if you saw RRR. I thought it was pretty good. It's very entertaining. There are parts of it it's a little long and there's a lot of singing and musical numbers, but the stunts are crazy. So, and the story is like kind of all over the place, but to me it's interesting to watch a movie like that simply because it's so different and weird. The Bollywood stuff, I kind of tune out for the last credits where the whole cast dances and sings, but the one of the musical numbers wasn't bad. It's just like I didn't really want to see a musical, but the stunts are crazy in RRR. So I'm halfway. This is the same director, and I'm halfway to seeing this movie probably. So just because it's different. Indie Phantom, they're coping with box office. They really are. It's not a good box office. That is not good. We are 2 weeks from Thanksgiving and no one's going to see movies. And I think the movies that will do well are kind of going to struggle to do well, except on Black Friday and Thanksgiving, where, a lot of people will be off and they'll go to the movies. Maybe. A lot of them might just stay home to watch the movie. I know I would. I'd rather stay to F home. Once I get my leftovers, I'm good. I'm good to go. Actually, I want to be working on Black Friday. My hope is I'm going to get a signing going on Black Friday. It's not looking good with 2 weeks left. Indie Phantom, didn't see RRR, wasn't feeling it. It is a long movie, but the stunts are crazy. They're like half real stunts and half like there's no way that happened. Physics doesn't work that way, guys, but it's kind of cool, I think. Sky Gene Movies, are you watching the prequel series It, Welcome to Derry? I love the idea of every season is going back in time. Season 1 is 1962. Season 2 is 1935. Season 3 is 1908. No, I have zero interest in that. I don't like prequels. And, I just don't want to see it. But you can enjoy it. It's just not something I think is good to make a prequel for. But that's kind of cool. I'll give you that. It is kind of cool they're going back in time like that. So, Indie Phantom, weather is cold, so I'm cool with staying home. Yeah, that's another factor too. Although the weather in South Jersey, it is nice. Pretty temperate. Tonight was a little chilly because it was windy, but it's going to be in the 50s all week here. This is November in South Jersey. When I was a kid, there was snow on the ground and it was half frozen because it had dropped late October or early November, and it would just be on the ground until March. Now, I hope I never see snow again. I love me global warming. But, yeah, I don't know. I'd still rather stay at home. There's some good seltzer. Original Naked Gun director says Reboot was trying to copy our style. Everybody's in it for the money. Yes, they are. Welcome to show business. Original Naked Gun director. Isn't that one of the Zucker brothers? Yeah, David Zucker. He was not impressed by the reboot led by Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. He said the film totally missed the now classic spoof style of comedy pioneered by Zucker. I agree with that assessment. It wasn't that good. It was okay. I really enjoyed the trailer more than anything else because the trailer actually it looked like it was building upon the previous incarnation. But again, what I think the Naked Gun really needed was it needed to spoof today's cop shows, not the ones from the 70s like the original one did. But whatever. Although I thought Liam Neeson was pretty good, but you watch that movie. I didn't even watch the end credits. I just started tuning out and go, I've seen enough. Glenn Powell brings his UPS driver to crash SNL monologue. He thought it was a scam, but he still came. That's weird. Indie Phantom. Pam Anderson was awful. Yeah, and they could have played up on that. Sky Gen Movies. Thoughts on the new direction of James Gunn's DCU? Could it ever beat out Marvel at some point? No. I think it's done. I'm fed up with James Gunn, quite frankly. I defended him for a while, and I will die on the hill that Superman did make a little bit of money. There's a lot of controversy, but I'm going to go with it. It still made a little bit of money, which is not great, but I think it is true. That being said, I'm sick of James Gunn already. His Peacemaker, and I haven't even seen the Peacemaker, but I've seen the clips. He's done, man. This late in the game, you're going to do woke crap in your movie. He is just not reading the room. This is a guy that's on the internet terminally, and he's not reading the room. We are done with this woke crap. The DCU cannot be woke. The only reason it was sort of coming up was because the perception was David Zaslav at Warner Brothers wasn't totally enamored with the whole woke thing. Now, some of the stuff that came out of Warner Brothers was completely woke, but you could say, well, maybe that was already in the schedule. They couldn't get rid of it, whatever. It didn't look like they were going hard into that. But now you have a situation where it seems very clear that James Gunn is determined to put his stupid politics in things. And that just looks god-awful. So, and he seems to pick the weirdest characters to do spinoffs, like he's doing a Jimmy Olsen thing. I mean, the Jimmy Olsen character with Superman was okay. I mean, he was kind of a different, cool take. That was sort of more like the Jimmy Olsen I remember from the 70s. They made him out to be like a cooler guy, hip with the ladies kind of thing. And Jimmy Olsen did have his own comic for many years. But in the movies, I don't think you can make it work. Again, it all goes back to basics. What do you want to see Superman? What do you want to see in a Superman movie? I know what I want to see. I want to see Superman blast through like a building. Punch a dude so hard that he punches him through like 5 buildings, and then like catches him before he smashes into a bus full of Girl Scouts. I want to see another version of the scene where Lex Luthor tries to burn him, freeze him, shoot bullets at him, drop a giant anvil on his head, and he's indestructible, and he, I want to see all that kind of stuff. That's what you want to see. It's the same thing you want to see in a Bond movie. Is it stuff we've seen before? Yes. Yes, it is. But that's what we want to see. That's why I want to pay the money to see your movie. I want to see Superman do Superman things. Come up with new things for Superman to do. Not his friends. Superman. I want to see Superman do things. And if you say, well, he sort of already did that, do a different variation on it. Whatever. Be creative. It's called being creative, James Gunn. Do Superman things. I want to see Superman run around the sun, run around the earth, and speed back time again. That's a fun scene. I want stuff like that. I don't want to see your politics. Number one, no freaking politics in the DCU. For Peacemaker, I don't want to see Peacemaker. I boycotted Peacemaker from the beginning. Even though I like the Suicide Squad movie, I can't stand John Cena. I'm not going to support his movies because he would rather support China, I think. So, but I heard great things about season 1, and I was very tempted. Maybe I'll watch this. And then I heard about season 2, and I'm like, I'm so glad I never supported this thing. So I think it's going to be bad. And he may be fired, by the way. JC. The original was parody of Dragnet from the 50s. But also from the 70s, they did the thing where, like, there was a bunch of things. But yeah, some of that was definitely from Dragnet. Indie Phantom. I'm gun shy. Hate his crap. I liked Suicide Squad and I liked Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's about it. I mean, Superman was okay. It was watchable. Sky Gene Movies. I love the tone in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. That should be the tone for the new DCU. For the DCU, maybe. I love Matt Reeves' take on Batman. I think he should be in charge. He got Batman right. He got Gotham City right. So, I don't know. Let him be in charge. And use the Robert Pattinson Batman for crying out loud, Gunn. Here's what should have happened. But now some of this may be corporate blocking James Gunn's every move. Like, oh, yeah, we want to do Superman, do those Superman things. No, we need more characters. We got to spin them off in their own movies. You got to have like 10 different movies going. And he might be like, that's going to be really tough. Yeah, use all these old characters and make sure you put people of color. I mean, it may be all these ridiculous things one after another that they're forcing him to do. But I kind of doubt on some of it now. Now that I heard he's jamming in his politics and is totally not embarrassed by it, that stuff is definitely not corporate, I would say. The corporate guys didn't come to him and say, you know what this movie needs? More of your politics. That's a one thing they probably wouldn't say to him. Now, maybe they said, like, we want you to hate on Trump. I don't know, but they definitely didn't want his politics in it. And he definitely took responsibility for it, so F him. But yeah, I would want Matt Reeves to run the show. He seems like he knows what he's doing. Hey Zeus, a fun question. What is your favorite snack when watching a movie? I love popcorn personally. I do love popcorn sometimes, but if I eat too much, depending on the brand, sometimes it makes me a little sick. I don't know. It depends on the popcorn. My girlfriend makes really good popcorn. So sometimes hers, she doesn't use like microwave popcorn. I don't eat that anymore. That's the brand that made me kind of sick. But ideally, what do I like? Yeah, it kind of depends on my mood. If I'm at the movies, I like to get the best time I ever had in the movies when I snuck in the food. Once I snuck in a pizza, that was a great day. But the top day was when I snuck in dumplings, because there was a Chinese food place right next to the movie theater. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get dumplings. And my friends were all like, you can't get dumplings. We're going into the movie right now. I'm like, yeah, just get my seat. And they were amazing, by the way. The people at the Chinese food place, they got me dumplings like that. And I took them into the movies, and the movie people didn't care. And I had dumplings, and I don't remember the movie we saw. But the dumplings were amazing. So I would say dumplings. Thank you for a fun question. Sky Gene movies. 100% agree with Reeves. The Penguin was amazing. I liked the Penguin up to the last episode. I didn't like the ending of the Penguin. And I really don't want him to do a season 2. What I want him to do is do a Batman TV show. And then lead it into the movie. Indie Phantom, Gunn is done. He is probably done. If Skydance buys Warner Brothers, which the rumor is this, Trump is pushing for his friend Larry Ellison so he could get the deal. And then the rumor is that the Trump administration is putting up hurdles for the other companies who are going to attempt to make a bid. But it may all be a show just so Ellison can buy it and look like he outbid everybody. Or it may be a manipulation by Zaslav trying to up the price on Ellison. I'm not sure. It may be a bigger conspiracy with BlackRock trying to take the Warner Brothers away from Paramount and Skydance because they don't want Disney to have a real competitor, and they want to keep woke crap in the theaters and destroy the movie industry in the United States so the Chinese can finally take it over, which I think it's happening. I really do. It's not looking great for Hollywood. Disney is taking it on the chin. So my hope is, that Skydance and Paramount buy Warner Brothers, and then they are an actual competitor with Disney, and they abandon every woke effing person in Hollywood, and every woke project is just immediately stopped in its tracks. And then one of the things that might happen is they'll go to Gunn and say, you're done. And all his projects, and there's some indication that that's already the case. Some of his projects have already been like sidelined or canceled in some way. The rumor is it might be because of the Superman movie didn't do as well as they wanted. It might be that, the Superman movie did okay enough and he's still in. We don't know, but we're going to know in the next couple of months, probably by the end of the year. I think they're going to make the sale before the end of the year, because otherwise the people involved will have to do more tax-related things if the sale drags on into 2026. They will not want the sale to drag on into 2026. And they're not going to want it to drag through the holidays, so they're going to want to get it done either before Thanksgiving or after it. But if they wait until after Thanksgiving, there's really going to be a deadline, and then maybe Zaslav can squeeze people for more money. So I think it'll probably happen in the next week, but we'll see. Oh boy. Landman returns, season 2, cast on the show's dangerous relationship, the not safe for work daddy-daughter scene, and the show's future. I don't know anything about that. Is it good? Haven't seen it. President Trump downplays Jeffrey Epstein email scandal on SNL. What scandal? What scandal are you talking about? See, this is the thing. The media makes an inference based on nothing that Trump had some... Now, it's already been well established that Trump was one of the few people, the only person, I think, in Epstein's orbit that turned against him and turned him into the cops and gave a statement to the cops. Nobody else in that circle did. I'm pretty sure that's true. Now, that's been well established. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He kicked him out of everything. Maybe he didn't even do it for altruistic reasons, but he did it. So, what the hell are we even talking about? How many times do we have to go through this? So now that, oh my God, we found some emails and Donald Trump is mentioned. Of course he's mentioned. Epstein hated him because he turned against him. Epstein didn't like him because he couldn't do anything with him. He didn't blackmail him. He apparently blackmailed a lot of other people. Now, you might say, why is Trump delaying the Epstein files? I think it's to protect certain interests in the banking community, maybe in the political levels. Maybe he's just trying to look like he's doing something so he could say to his other political allies, hey, I tried to protect you, but I couldn't do anything. You could blame the Democrats. And then it's a double whammy because most of the Democrats are getting dinged by Epstein because it's Clinton. And obviously the Democrats were up to their eyeballs in Epstein. And Clinton actually went to the island so many times that he was a friend to Epstein. And he had a painting of him in the blue dress on the island. So for SNL to then magnify this false premise with a comedy sketch is just using your comedy for propaganda, essentially. I mean, it's lazy, it's stupid. It's also the least edgy thing you could possibly do with your comedy. The edgy thing to do would be to use your comedy to make fun of the people who are desperate to spread the Epstein thing on Trump, to do anything they can to stop Trump. That would be the interesting comedy bit that you'll never see on SNL. The SNL guys being super based and turning it around. But they'd never do that. They'd never get it on the air. Everybody in New York would riot. So I kind of hate SNL now. I used to love SNL. I would talk about SNL all the time and glowing. Me and my friends in college, all we ever wanted to do was work for SNL. That was our goal in life, to get out of college and somehow I was going to write, and guys were going to be in the cast, and that was going to be our goal. We were all going to be on SNL. And now I look at it and I go, thank God none of us made it on SNL. Because is this what you want to be? I don't want to be associated with these people. Not anymore. 75, it was the greatest show ever. Now it's like, please, stop beating a dead horse. It's like that scene in The Simpsons where Homer's beating up the Hamburglar and the kid's crying and he's going, oh, stop, he's already dead. It's like that for me. Sky Gene Movies. Thoughts on Taylor Sheridan leaving Paramount for Universal? He created so much for Paramount, for example, Yellowstone, Tulsa King, and Landman. JC, I told you he blew Clinton. Taylor Sheridan left for $1 billion. I can't blame him. I'd leave for $1 billion too. Good on him. Get some, Sheridan. He deserves the money. I don't think Paramount could have matched that. So, but, you know, Paramount still has those shows. They could still do them. They're not, I don't think they're completely dependent on a guy like Sheridan. He's created some cool stuff, I guess you could say. They're not my, like Tulsa King. Stallone spent his entire career avoiding mafia roles because he's Italian and he didn't want to do that. And now he's doing it. I feel like, kind of a turnaround there I didn't want to see. I hear Yellowstone is good. I kind of can't get into it. Indie Phantom. Sheridan went to Apple. I think, was it Apple? Who paid him the $1 billion? I forget. Taylor I gotta take my caps lock off. Taylor Sheridan, $1 billion. NBC Universal. NBC Universal. I don't think even Taylor Sheridan could save NBC Universal. The interesting thing will be, will Taylor Sheridan now be forced to do woke programming for NBC? Or as NBC said, we got to get out of woke programming. Hire Taylor Sheridan so we could get some men to watch our channel again. We'll see. Sky Gene Movies. Man, do I miss Chris Farley. When I hear SNL, that's who comes to mind. For me, it's John Belushi, but yeah, I can understand. Like, you know, Chris Farley to me was the usurper. Was the guy, this guy's too close to Belushi. But I get what you're saying. Even back then, though, SNL was at least fun. Indie Phantom. Still haven't seen any of his series, but I might try Landman someday, or I might not. Yeah, I hear the Yellowstone stuff's really good. I've had some friends rave about it. And speaking of Yellowstone, here are my list of Westerns. All right, this is my Western list. So again, don't go too hard on me on this list because I realize there's a bunch of Westerns I still haven't seen, and I should probably see them. And I've seen so many over the years, some of them blur together, but this is my list. Number 1 for me is Unforgiven. I love that movie. Number 2, and you may not count this as a Western, and I understand if you don't, but Blazing Saddles. I think it still counts as a Western. Number 3 is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I love that movie as well. 4, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the associated movies with that. Number 5 is Tombstone. Number 6 is High Noon. Number 7 is No Country for Old Men. I should probably have a separate category for modern Westerns. Number 8 is Old Henry. Number 9 is Bone Tomahawk. So good. And number 10 is Pale Rider, with honorable mentions to High Plains Drifter, True Grit, the remake. I didn't see the original. And Little Big Man. So those are my Western recs. Oh, and 310 to Yuma, which was a remake. Again, I didn't see the original. So that's my Westerns. All right. Indie Phantom, my dad watched Yellowstone. Too many seasons to care now. Yeah, that's the problem with binge watching stuff. And this is my pitch for the Pineys. Goes back to that. My pitch would be, you got to make movies that you got to combine movies and episodes. So like when I write the Pineys books, I try to write them in a way that you could read any one of them. You don't have to read the other books to know what's going on. But at the same time, they do link together. Right? So I think that's the way they should make the episodes, and make them longer. Make them movie length. So make them 90 minutes and make, 4 to 6 of them a year, and then promote them like movies. And then that way you could just jump in to, Yellowstone movie 3, and you don't have to worry about the other ones. If you like it a lot, if you like it enough, you can go back and watch it. Sky Gene Movies. 1,000 Ways to Die in the West. LOL. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Would that count? I guess that would count. That's a really good movie. I like that movie. JEC. Love High Noon. Indie Phantom. I do enjoy some Westerns, but not super learned in them. I have seen about half your list. I love Unforgiven. God, Unforgiven's so great. And JC, Shane. I haven't seen Shane. I've seen I haven't seen enough of it. I've seen there's a bunch of movies. I've seen a bunch of clips, but I didn't see the whole movie, so I couldn't put Shane on the list. I know There's a bunch of, I mean, the Magnificent Seven. I still haven't seen that. When you made this you make this list and you want to punch yourself. Storebang, the Pineys would be a great web series. Yeah, and we may end up doing it that way someday. We'll see. Again, it's all about money. I mean, if I hit the lottery for, $1 billion tomorrow, I'd totally make the Pineys. I would stop what I was doing immediately to start making the Pineys while my family pulled their hair out. Like, you got to invest this money. I am. JC, Magnificent Seven is S compared to the Seven Samurai, which is a remake of. Sky Gene Movies. Remake of Magnificent Seven with Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt was great action. I did not see that one as well. You realize how many movies you haven't seen when you make these lists. It's kind of embarrassing. I tried to make the top 10 Hitchcock movies, and I realized I haven't seen 10 Hitchcock movies. I was like, I haven't seen these movies. I got to see more of these movies. Indie Phantom. I would probably say High Plains Drifter. Still never watched Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Sky Gene Movies. Bone Tomahawk is so underrated, even as has horror elements in it. Yeah, it is a messed up scene in Bone Tomahawk. It's so messed up when that scene happens. I know exactly what you're talking about. Holy cow. My girlfriend had to turn away and say, let me know when this is over. JC, Frenzy is my favorite Hitchcock. See, I haven't seen all of Frenzy. To me, it's still North by Northwest. Man, I love that movie. I could watch that movie almost every day. Indie Phantom, Hitchcock is almost always good. He really is. He really is. Timothy Chalamet praises Adam Sandler as one of the best effing actors of all time. Seriously? Okay. That's a weird take, isn't it? I mean, Indie Phantom, Frenzy rules. Adam Sandler's the best effing actor of all time? Come on. He is pretty much the same in many of his movies, I think. Frenzy is him going back to his roots, doing an English film, his last great movie before he died. I think it was his last movie, wasn't it? Wasn't Frenzy his last? FCC chairman reposts Donald Trump's call for NBC to fire Seth Meyers immediately. JC, worst Hitchcock movie is Marnie, second last movie. People like Marnie, though. I haven't seen that one either. That was another one I looked and I was like, I haven't seen that one. Sky Gene Movies, random thought, but why haven't we revisited Jaws franchise? I understand the fourth was terrible with a shark that roars, but LOL, but it was 1987. Pretty much killed it. JC, Family Plot was his last movie? Huh. Marnie is laughable. Going back to Jaws, quite frankly, it's Jaws 1 is great. Jaws 2 really just feels like a rehash of Jaws 1. Jaws 3, which I believe is Jaws 3D, which I think I saw. I think I saw Jaws 3. Let me, I think it's Jaws 3D. Because I remember me and my friends going to see that movie. Jaws. Yeah, Jaws 3D. Dennis Quaid. And I believe Michael Caine's in this. Isn't Michael Caine in this? Why did I think Michael Caine was in this movie? I thought for sure he was in this movie. Or is he in the fourth one? Maybe he's in the fourth one. Leah Thompson, Dennis Quaid, Lou Gossett Jr. Well, it was doomed right there. It was doomed right there. Yeah, this movie is horrific. And then, what? Maybe it was 4? Is he in 4? Jaws the Revenge. Maybe he was in 4. Yeah. Oh, no. Mario Van Peebles was in 4? Holy crap. Nobody was in this thing. Where is he? I don't see him on this list. Oh, there he is. Michael Caine. Michael Caine. He's in Jaws. I'm in a new movie called Jaws 4. The shark was very scary and tried to eat me. JC, Marnie is him trying to do a sexual thriller. It's just really awkward and half-baked. Indie Phantom. Marnie is okay. Connery is slick. Kane is in 4. Yeah. I could have sworn that... Is this one in 3D? Maybe I saw this one in 3D. I don't know. Could have sworn I saw it in 3D, and Michael Caine was in it. Storebang. Part of Marnie was shot in Atlantic County at the AC Atlantic City Racetrack. Oh, I did not know that. Neat. JC. Connery's motivations make no sense. Marnie is actively trying to steal from him, so he blackmails her into marrying him? What? Well, maybe it's because back then, if you were married, you could, basically push your wife around a little bit. Maybe that was the thinking. Indie Phantom. 3D is worse than The Revenge. I remember sitting in the theater and in 3D, a leg comes down into the shot, and then you realize it's a severed leg because a shark ate a guy, and then the leg kind of spins around in the water, but it's like right in front of your face. It was kind of a cool effect, but the rest of the movie is just god-awful. So, but back to your question, why didn't they redo Jaws? I don't know. So kind of surprised they didn't, but the 80s kind of wrecked Jaws. They were not good movies. I mean, 2 was barely a sequel. And then I think that did pretty poorly. And then the other 2 movies were like completely different movies. And really just sort of squeezed whatever money was left. So... But it has been 40 years, so give him time. Maybe because Spielberg's still alive, and he's still pretty powerful in Hollywood. So maybe he would be the guy to go, oh, no, we're not doing that. They recently brought it back into theaters, but you notice they didn't bring the other movies back. Let's see. Tom Cruise dances with Debbie Allen at party ahead of receiving their honorary Oscars at Governor Awards. So Tom Cruise done banging Anna de Armas. I guess he's going to bang... Who's Debbie Allen? I'm not sure. Is she hot? And Ken Burns, The American Revolution is a vast account of our country's origin story. Wouldn't trust it. NPR ranked it highly. I'll just pass. I did my own research in that area, so. Sydney Sweeney on Bond girl rumors. She should be a Bond girl. She's hot. That's the role I want to see Sydney Sweeney in, being a Bond girl. They finally put her in a damn bikini. What are you going to wait until she's 80? Put her in a damn bikini. And then put her in the damn trailer and then sell and then make $1 billion. Think about this. We live at a time that just 10 years ago, these movies were making $1 billion with a B dollars. $1 billion. The Marvel movies were making $1 billion. And these idiots in Hollywood can't even get close. They can't even get close now. They can't figure out, oh, we had the most beautiful woman in Hollywood. Let's have her gain 30 pounds and get punched in the face. Ooh, yeah, that sounds great. Oh, should we put her in a bikini on a beach? What? That's crazy. Bunch of morons. Fandom Pulse. Fandom Pulse doesn't look like it's been updated in a while. Alrighty. Doctor Who spinoff finally gets release date, but there's a catch. So this is a weird spinoff in Doctor Who. It's the Atlanteans versus people on land. That was like an Atlantean episode of Doctor Who. JC, Sweeney had 3 movies flop. She's not a draw. She's just AstroTurf. No, I don't think she's a draw, but put her in a bikini, in a scene, and that's a draw. It doesn't matter who she is. It matters that she's hot. When's the last time you saw a bikini girl in a trailer? When's the last time? I couldn't even tell you. When's the last time you saw one in like a beer commercial? Indie Phantom, Sweeney needs to be a Bond chick 100%. Are they stupid? Yeah, I mean, that's what she'd be good for. Sky Jean Movies, thoughts on the new Anaconda movie? It's more like Jumanji comedy style than a horror element. Not too keen on it. Jack Black and Paul Rudd have kind of worn out their welcome. And, you know, the big fly in the ointment for that movie is not even those two. It's Thandie Newton is with them. Like, if you were going to cast a comedy movie, Paul Rudd, ding. Jack Black, ding. Thandie Newton, What are you casting Thandie Newton in a comedy? She's one of the most woke women in Hollywood, therefore having no sense of humor, in my opinion. Why would you cast her? Why would you cast her? What are you going to do with it? This is a woman who's been decrying Hollywood, in my opinion, for years, about there not being enough people of color in roles and stuff. Why would you cast her in a comedy? Why wouldn't you cast, like, Ilsa Fisher in that? Or any female comic you could think of. Even Amy Schumer would have been better. At least Amy Schumer has experience in comedy, and she lost all the weight. So she looks better. I mean, she doesn't look hot, but she looks hotter. JC, I can watch all the prawn I want for free anytime I want. Who cares if she's in a bikini? Because that gets eyes on things. If you're watching TV, regular TV, and there's still a lot of normies out there, and a commercial goes by and you see a hot chick all sweaty in a bikini, and then it's Bond, James Bond, you're gonna stay in long enough to at least hear the line and maybe see the rest of it. Indie Phantom, in her rom-com where she's topless, the film was a hit. There you go. There you go. Jennifer Lawrence was in that No Hard Feelings movie. She was totally naked. Put her in it. She's done comedy. She was actually good in that comedy. Indie Phantom, Schumer, man, she sucks. She does, but actually she was good in Frosted. The Jerry Seinfeld movie. I like that movie. Nobody else did, but she was funny in that. But at least she's a comedian. So, like, Thandie Newton is the opposite of comedy, in my opinion. She shouldn't be in the movie. She shouldn't have been cast. If anything, you know, it limits your options for comedy because you don't want to upset Thandie. With Amy, you have a chance that, you know, you could do some crazy scene, do some edgy comedy with her, and she'll at least go along with it. It might not be great, but she'll at least try to go along with edgy comedy. Her boyfriend was Anthony Jeselnik, who used to write her comedy, by the way. So goes the rumor. And, you know, Anthony Jeselnik has some pretty edgy jokes. I don't think you're doing any edgy jokes with Thandie Newton on the set. I think she's going to be like, uh-oh, that's problematic. Indie Phantom. Lawrence is very hot and naked in Red Sparrow. I know you guys keep saying that. I got to see that movie. All right, so this is Doctor Who's spinoff. This is a very bad idea, and it's called The War Between the Land and the Sea, and it's dropping in 2026. So the weird thing about this movie was they had a new name for the creatures. They initially I think they called them sea devils, and then they renamed them. I swear this is almost true. I gotta see if I can find it. I gotta see if I can find the name before I say it, because I might get flagged on YouTube for even saying it. The War of the Land and Sea, new name. Yeah, Homo Aqua. They're not gonna call them sea devils. He said that term was racist, and that the aquatic species preferred to be called Homo Aqua. And this is Russell T. Davies, the guy who made what I consider the gayest TV show ever, Doctor Who, and made it turned it gay up all the way. I mean, I've never seen anything as gay as the Doctor Who show that he did. It's just super gay. But it's just so hilarious that he decided to rename the Sea Devils in Doctor Who because it's a racist name, but he's renaming them Homo Aqua. Sky Gene movies. Did you watch season 1 of Monarch, the Godzilla King Kong series? I loved it and can't wait for season 2 coming out February 27th. No, I didn't. I love, though, Godzilla. What was it? Godzilla? The Godzilla movie. The $15 million one. What is it? Godzilla .1 or Godzilla -1? Yeah, Godzilla -1. That movie absolutely rocks. And I can't wait for the sequel. They've already greenlit that and they're making it. Sky Gene movies. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was super gay, but loved it. Really? A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I don't remember that being gay. But yeah, imagine deciding this would be a good idea to rename, and the justification's just insane. How can you be racist against a fictional alien creatures that call themselves the Sea Devils? How is that racist exactly? It doesn't make any sense. Indie Phantom. Yeah, still need to watch that Godzilla. Oh, it's so good. Here's a bit of good news. Freedom Tunes has raised $500,000 for Twisted Plots. So he's doing his own show and raised a bunch of money. So good on Seamus. I think it might be fun. I like Freedom Tunes if you haven't seen them. You can watch them on YouTube anytime you want. Rock Digital hires woke activist Alana Pierce for Warhammer 40,000 Bolt Gun 2. R.I.P. Warhammer. They are still going heavily into woke with Warhammer. It's a shame. Indie Phantom. Tony, Nightmare 2 is the gayest thing ever. There's even a documentary about it. It is? I don't think I saw that one. I did see the first one. I don't remember seeing 2. Sky Gene movies. A Nightmare on Elm Street had a gay director, a gay actor, and naked men in showers, a gay bar scene. It did? I don't remember this at all. Hold on. Let's stop the presses. A Nightmare on Elm. Are you guys messing with me? Freddy's Revenge? All right. There's a man and a woman on the poster. A teenage boy is haunted by his dreams by deceased child murderer Freddy Krueger, who's out to possess him in order to continue his reign of terror in the real world. Okay. Well, there's a bare-chested dude in it. Okay. See how many men are in this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, 9. Doesn't seem to be overloaded with dudes, but I'll take your word for it. Indie Phantom. Freddy is still creepy in 2. Tony, you clearly need to read review of Nightmare 2. Look up the main actor. Okay. Review of Nightmare on Elm Street 2. All right. Here is Rotten Tomatoes. These are probably newer ones. So probably don't want these. Here's someone calling it one of the great... Oh, here we go. There's a little bit of it here. I still don't know how to feel. 5 out of 10. The film is definitely the most different of the series. I mean, first with the undertones, and secondly, how Freddy decides to go after the teens. I'm going to skip a synopsis since people have done that and plenty of times before, but instead go over what this film succeeds and fails. First, Freddy is still somewhat scary in this film. Not goofy yet, in my opinion. And it's the best looking makeup of the series. Next, the film has some very progressive undertones, as in coming out and homosexuality, despite being disputed by the creators. So, snubbed at the Oscars. Okay. Freddy's back to terrorize the confused teenage boy. I don't see how Freddy gets revenge. I'll have to go somewhere else for this. Look up the main actor. Check his doc credit. High school shop teacher performed BDSM. Some are dream sequences. Yeah, Freddy is able to enter the real world in that one. All right. How do I get back to the... Oh, there we go. So, stars Mark Patton. All right. He doesn't have a lot of credits. He was in Swallowed. That doesn't sound very family friendly. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Doesn't look like he's had a lot of... Oh, looks like he's in some stuff recently. Let's go to his bio here. He was in Broadway. He was bullied. He's HIV positive, suffering from thrush, pneumonia, and tuberculosis. Oh my God. That's a shame. In 2010, he was approached to appear in Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street Legacy 2010 documentary about the franchise. He learned that Nightmare 2 had become a cult classic amongst horror fans in the LGBT community, being celebrated as one of the gayest horror films of all time. Patton agreed to appear in the documentary and was finally able to be truthful about his sexuality. Screenwriter Chaskin finally admitted it had included gay subtext. In that time, he is lauded as the first male scream queen while touring horror conventions all over the world. He sells t-shirts with some of the gayer lines from the film. He's inside me and he wants to take me again, along with derogatory ones such as Jesse is a, I won't say that on YouTube, unfortunately. He donates much of his money to make for his appearances to HIV treatment organizations and charities, blah, blah, blah. I guess he's still around, because I don't see a, yeah, he's still around. So he's still surviving. Crazy. You learn things on this podcast. I learned something today. Sky Gene movies. Yeah, number 2, you have the male teacher naked in the shower getting whipped in the butt with a towel. Boys always without shirts in their underwear. Bob Shea cross-dresses in a bar scene. I don't think I've seen this movie. That's a bit crazy for a Freddy movie. All right. Indie Phantom. The more you know, Tony. Bling, bling, bling. That's right. Woke-infested Tales of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV series will not continue after second season. This was, of course, the race-swapped April O'Neil, where they made her a fat black woman. Leftist influencer Hassan Piker on James Gunn. James Gunn is a lot more woke than he lets on. Well, there you go. There's the death knell of James Gunn's career. Hassan Piker seems to support him in his own weird way. Did anybody see Hassan Piker go to China and, like, suck up to the Chinese? Holy cow. I mean, he did everything but, like, get down on his knees and go, oh, oh, oh. I mean, Jesus. Sky Gene movies, haha. Holy cow. Hassan Piker really loves communism. I think he should stay in China and live there until they inevitably throw him in a gulag. They even gave him the Little Red Mal book as a gift because he's such an important shill for them, I guess. What an absolute traitor, in my opinion, Hassan Piker is. He should not be watched. I hope he loses every one of his followers. But this is where we're at today. This is very disturbing that Hassan Piker has so many followers. And not only that, a guy, apparently the guy on Twitch is like his, he keeps him going. Keeps him going. And he's making an insane amount of money on that platform, too. Keeps giving him money. You have to be brain dead to give Hassan Piker a dime. Guy's a millionaire socialist. It's disgusting to me. It really is. So, moving on. Do sex scenes belong in games? I mean, look, they were funny in Grand Theft Auto. You didn't really see them, but you would hear them. And that was kind of fun. I mean, real sex scenes, I don't really want that. But not because I'm a prude, but just because it's just, what are you gonna see? What are you gonna do? Like, it doesn't seem like a good game. So maybe as a comedy thing, for a cutscene, but I wouldn't expect to see anything. Sky Gene movies, random question, but I love Batman, never read comics, but what is with Clayface movie? I have no idea who that is. Okay, this I can explain, because you asked Batman questions. One of the villains in Batman is Clayface. The original Clayface, the deal was, he was an actor, and I think he was in an accident and it scarred his face. So he went to this guy who gave him this makeup that would essentially allow him to mold his face back to what it was. But the medicine or the makeup or whatever was experimental, and eventually, he could change his shape more and more until finally he couldn't hold his shape anymore. So it was sort of like became like the idea was it was an addictive drug, and then he could change his shape, and then like he could turn his hand into an axe and do stuff like that. So eventually, and this was in the cartoon as well. If you watch the Batman animated series, they do a really good version of it. Indie Phantom, good question. Don't know Clayface either. So his deal is he's basically a clay man because of the medicine. So I guess they're going to do the wind up, how he gets the medicine and then starts, at first it works and he can go back to acting, but then, he needs more and more of it and his face starts melting and eventually he turns into Clayface because I think initially he had to rob banks in order to buy more of the medicine so he could turn back to his normal self. But then it also made him insane. But there have been I think 4 or 5 Clayfaces in the DC Comics universe, and some of them had slightly different origins, and the character goes way back. That's like an old Batman character when, Batman was a relatively new character. So they're doing a Clayface movie. It's probably going to be more like the cartoon Clayface, and it's going to, have a streamlined origin where Clayface, gains his powers and then becomes an enemy of Batman somehow. But I assume Batman's not going to be in it because, as always, Warner Brothers wants to make more TV shows that are not Batman. I've talked about this. It's its own subgenre of show and movie. The not Batman subgenre. Oh, we talk about Batman, and Batman's in our universe, but you never see Batman in the not Batman shows. So, Sky Gene movies. Could the Clayface movie be an intro for Batman in the DCU? I don't think so, because I think Matt Reeves is doing that one too. But what they should do is just do Batman TV show. That's all they should do. They should go to Robert Pattinson's house and say, how much money do you want? And he'll say, I don't know, he wants $1 million an episode. I would pay him that. That would be worth it. The Batman TV show would be worth billions. It would be the most watched TV show. Everybody would suddenly get Warner Brothers or Max or whatever they're calling it now, HBO Max. Everybody would get it. Everybody wants to watch Batman. Everybody. A Batman Matt Reeves TV show would absolutely crush everything on HBO Max and on the other platforms too. I would watch it. I think all of you would watch it. The only people who wouldn't watch it are people who don't like Batman. And that's a small amount of people at this point. People love Batman still. And I think Matt Reeves had a really good take on Batman. Robert Pattinson is perfectly fine as the guy. He's a young guy. I think he wants to do it. I think he would do it. I mean, if you pay him the right amount of money. And I think he's worth every cent, because it would be $1 billion TV show. Look at how successful The Penguin was. They didn't pay Colin what's his face, Pittance. They didn't pay him scale. They paid him big money. He's an A-lister. He's been in movies. You're telling me you can't pay Robert Pattinson to just be Batman in a TV show? You put Clayface in it. You put the Penguin in it. You put whoever you want in it. Just make a Batman show. Stop trying to spin it off. Maybe I don't think they're gonna make the DCU Batman in it. I don't think they should make a DCU Batman. It should be Robert Pattinson's Batman. Put him in it. It's so easy. But it's not, because they have various contracts and the character they fight. I've heard, because I had a friend of a friend who worked at DC Comics, that they are constantly, the entertainment divisions are constantly fighting over Batman. Constantly. Because the franchise is too big and they won't let anybody touch it without everybody's permission in corporate. Something like that. Sky G Movies. Thoughts on the TV series Swamp Thing being canceled after one season a few years back? I really enjoyed it. It felt grounded. I don't know. Swamp Thing was never a great character. Alan Moore made it great by simply just, hey, I'm going to do creepy tales and I'll just use the Swamp Thing to facilitate that. And they were really good. I liked his take on Swamp Thing. I have a lot of the old Swamp Thing comics. But, it's, in some respects, it's almost easy to take a stupid comic character like Swamp Thing that never really was all that great and had a bunch of dumb characters associated with it and turn it into something pretty decent. Because the contrast isn't like nothing and something you just created. The contrast is what went before, which was mostly stupid, and then what you have now. So in some respects, it's kind of easier. I just think Swamp Thing is yet another IP the DC Comics is just throwing out there. They kind of don't know what they're doing. If they were going to do something like corporate, and if you had to pitch this to a bunch of corporate guys, I would tell them this. Listen, here is when DC Comics sold really big. And you would look at that era, and you would say, see where all the stories are at this time? Now, when comic books were big, it was the early 60s. And Marvel hit big, and DC Comics were pretty big. They had been big in the 50s when Superman was doing sci-fi stuff. Now, to some respects, James Gunn kind of captured that a little bit in his movie, but not quite enough. And it wasn't, focused enough on Superman. But, you look at Batman, the highlights really, in my view, probably were the Neil Gaiman years. And that's where he was a detective. And that's why I think the Matt Reeves, version is really good. For Swamp Thing, the highlights were when he was Alan Moore, and maybe you could argue during the Vertigo era. And so that was the most recent era where comics were selling, were the early 90s. Comics were huge. Superman died. Vertigo was big. The Secret Wars, well, that was the 80s, but, it was all in that era when comics were big. So that's the era. I mean, MCU is trying to do that era. DC should be doing that era. So what was going on? They were trying to get the continuity right. There had to be a continuity of the universe. And who were the big guns? Well, it was Superman. It was Batman. It was Wonder Woman. It was Martian Manhunter, which they haven't really done much with him. Aquaman. All the friends in the Justice League, you could say. All those guys. So you present it like you do with the comics. You say, okay, we're going to do all the superheroes over here, and then we're going to do all the Vertigo stuff over there, and we're going to make it more adult. It's going to be horror and, goth stuff, and we're going to get all the kids back from the 90s for the stuff they grew up on. So we're going to do Sandman like it is in the comic, and we're going to, that was the progressive stuff of its day, all that Vertigo stuff. It was still super progressive. Somehow they had to make it more progressive by race-swapping death for the Neil Gaiman Sandman show. It made no sense. So, just doing a one-off Swamp Thing, it's not a character that can really hold any weight. Sandman had possibilities because Sandman was insanely popular when it came out. And between Sandman and to some extent Swamp Thing, that's how they launched Vertigo. But Sandman really was gigantic. It was so big, it broke through to mainstream TV because one of the characters on Roseanne wore a Sandman t-shirt and people went berserk. So, yeah, I mean, I know you might have liked it, but it's not a mainstream character that's all that big, if you had started it, here's how comics were successful. They would do anthologies, and they would introduce these characters, and then some of them were big and some of them weren't. You could have done the same thing to introduce these characters in the DC universe. You could have done, Weird Tales as an anthology, and you could do a one-shot of the Swamp Thing. You could do a one-shot of, Sandman. You could do a one-shot of Shade the Changing Man. All these characters from the Vertigo line. Shade the Changing Man, turns out he was a Ditko character. I didn't know. You could have really, introduced them in a anthology and see if anybody had any interest in these characters. But I don't know. TV series with superheroes, how well has that worked out? Not great. And you got to introduce these characters using the characters that do work. Superman and Batman are the characters that always work. Maybe Wonder Woman. So you do a Batman series, you can introduce Swamp Thing. And then if people like him, you say, okay, we got really good ratings on that episode with Swamp Thing. Let's spin him off on his own series. If nobody, if it turns out it's not a good rating, okay, that didn't work out. We'll try Shade the Changing Man or whoever. We'll try the Creeper. I think that's another Ditko creation. Sky Gene movies. Do you think we need a break from Joker and Batman movies? Well, what we need, again, is the TV show, because the Joker, a break, okay. If we take a break from the Joker, who's the main villain? That's why they're trying to do this Clayface TV show. They're trying to introduce Clayface so you guys go, oh, I know who Clayface is. Oh, he's going to be in the next movie. Maybe that's the purpose. They'll do a 8 or 10 episode arc and then go right into a movie. That would be cool, I guess. I've often said they should do that. This is why they need to do a Batman series. Do a Batman series, introduce all these characters, and then lead up to a movie that's bigger than the episodes. And then, you could bring out certain characters for the movie, like the Joker, right? You could have the Joker lurking around in the series. You don't really see him. Maybe you see hints of him. And then finally the movie comes out and then it's the Joker and you build up to him. I had a pitch for a build up of the Joker. They locked him away and there was some jail in DC Comics that's in Antarctica. So nobody can escape, because if they get outside, they just freeze to death. And the Joker's there. So the idea is it's got so many security measures, no one's ever going to get out, right? So the pitch I had was the Joker would be like a 2-page backup story every issue in Batman for a year. And each time the Joker tries to get out of prison and he fails. But each time he gets a little bit closer. And so the idea is, over the course of a year, maybe 2 years, you keep cutting back to the Joker and he tries to escape again, but he fails and fails and fails. And he just keeps failing for 2 years. And then finally, you just stop cutting to the Joker, and then he just shows up in Gotham and he got out. To me, that would be a cool build-up. Wait a minute, I haven't seen the Joker back up. Where is he? And boom, he shows up in the issue. That could be something you could do in the TV show, right? You could establish that the Joker is in this insanely secure prison, but he's trying to get out, and every week you catch a glimpse of him just trying something new, and he almost maybe gets a little further each time, and then finally he just shows up in the movie. But you need to make these characters special. You have to treat them as special characters. When the Joker shows up, you have to treat it like a bomb goes off in Gotham and everybody's scared and people are dying and the Batman has to stop him. He has to drop what he's doing to stop the Joker because he's so out of control. and ridiculously good at what he does. Like, that's the way you have to treat him. Or you have to treat him like the cartoon treated him, as just another gangster in the city. He was just crazier than most. So I like that incarnation of the Joker too. Like, he's just there. That's a way you could start him in a TV series, and then he goes to jail and then goes further insane, and then you build up to the movie. But that's why everybody loves the Batman. They love the Joker and his gallery of rogues. Sky Jeans, Green Lantern TV series is next on the DCU list. That, I think, is going to be total ass, because Damon Lindelof, who I have dubbed the Antichrist of screenwriters, is working on that thing. So what you're going to get is mystery box, mystery box, mystery box, mystery box, mystery box, mystery box. Oh, you might learn about the mystery box this week. Oh, the show's over. Sorry. So if you've seen the TV show Lost, you understand the endless mystery box. That's what I think you're going to get in a Green Lantern TV series, and I want nothing to do with it. It's also, the word is that it's going to be like a buddy cop movie where Hal Jordan is training his replacement, who is the Black Green Lantern. What's his name? John something, I think, which is not how the series progressed, but whatever. I don't know if they're going to make Hal a bad guy like they did in the comics, very foolishly, I'll add. And then they had to undo it, and it's a mess. They've ruined that character. But no one ever... Like, Green Lantern was kind of popular when they first introduced him in, like, the 30s and 40s. And then he went away for a while because he kind of got old. People were kind of sick of him. He was sort of a mystical character. Then in the early 60s, they brought him back as a space guy. They did a retro, Hal Jordan's whole deal is a retrofitting of the Green Lantern. The Green Lantern originally was, they found his ring in an Egyptian pyramid, and it was supposed to be like a supernatural thing. But the retrofit is, oh no, it was actually from space, like somehow the alien left a ring or a partial ring inside the pyramid, and that's how he became the Green Lantern. And that's Alan Scott, and then it turns out he's gay, of course, so they made him gay. And then now it's like Hal Jordan Green Lantern. He was super popular for many years. And then the 70s came, and then, they had the Green Arrow Green Lantern thing where they tour America and deal with heroin addiction and all kinds of things. And then that was super popular, by the way. It was different for comics at that time. And then after that, he wasn't all that popular. And then eventually, I don't know, what was it, 10, 20 years ago, they did the Hal Jordan Turns Evil storyline and just ruined the character to try to squeeze some, I assume, sales out of it. So, yeah, I don't know. And then they did the Ryan Reynolds movie, and that didn't take off. So now they're trying this TV show. Indie Phantom. Only Swamp Thing I've seen is the Craven movie. I have Adriana Barbeau boobs version. Great for a PG flick. Yeah, it's watchable, I guess. Didn't do too well. Neil Gaiman, eh? Wonder whatever happened to him. No bueno for Neil Gaiman. He got accused of some pretty horrible stuff. I don't know how true it is, but his career is done. They cooked him. Now, he hasn't been convicted of anything. He is being sued, I believe, but everybody's dumped him. The accusations ruined him. I don't know if they're true. Seemed like a normal guy when I met him, but you can't tell from that. So, I don't know. He and his wife, I think, though, are weird. I've heard weird things about the two of them, and they had an open marriage, which doesn't sound good. So, I don't know. He may have tried to parlay his fame into having extra sex on the side with hot young women. And on the one hand, I could see it happening. Having all that fame and money is a corrupting influence. But on the other hand, I always see that and go, but if that's the case, he had a lot of money and influence and a lot of hot goth girl fans falling all over him. He literally could have picked anyone out of the crowd, and I'm sure they would have went back to his hotel room and banged the hell out of him. Would have been happy to, a lot of them. Back in his heyday, like having his own groupies. But, you don't know. Maybe he was too shy to make that happen? Or maybe there was a rumor that his wife facilitated that. But maybe she stopped doing that, and that's when things fell apart. I don't know. What's wrong, Joan? You want to get down? Here you go, babe. Little Joan, checking in. I don't know. His career is done, though. Sky Gene Movies. LOL, the ending of Lost was so terrible. I was so let down. I tried to warn people. I tried to warn them. Tried to warn my friend. He didn't listen to me. No, I mean, Neil Gaiman might come back if the lawsuits don't pan out, I guess. Maybe like 10 years from now, but I don't know. I think all his projects got axed. That's just my opinion, by the way. Neil Gaiman's lawyers. It's just my take on it. I don't know nothing. I'm just speculating based on what I've read. Scott Snyder claims the inspiration for Absolute Batman came from his children's fears of school shooters and viewing billionaires as antagonists. Okay. Don't want to read that then. Synthetic Man on the Outer Worlds 2, a smug Redditor's wet dream. That doesn't sound very good. So that's a video game. We already looked at that. Hollywood Reporter. Oh my God, it's already been 3 hours, doggy. Oh, look at Sky Gene Movies sending me some money. Thank you so much. Thank you. I had a great time here. I'll be back next time. Have a good night. And I have to walk the dogs. Thanks, bro. Really appreciate the money. Look at me. This is 2 weeks in a row I got tips. Indie Phantom, Damon Lindelof. Demon Lindelof. Oh, you wrote that on purpose. Ha ha ha. Hollywood Reporter. Oscar predictions via Feinberg forecast. Scott's updated standing post Wicked for good pre-Avatar Fire and Ash. Do we want to look at this? Who cares about the Oscars? Just give me a list. I don't want to read this thing. Oh, God. You got to be kidding me. Erivo and Grande, who are being pushed in the same categories that they were in the first film. Don't care. Don't care about Wicked or Wicked for Good or whatever. Here you go, Joe. So, talking about that. In other news, Ella McKay, James L. Brooks' first feature in 15 years? I don't think so. That movie looked terrible. Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, that's probably going to win some things. I hear it looks amazing, but... Nosh Ballbox, Jay Kelly. It looks like Oscar bait. I don't know. George Clooney, Adam Sandler. Maybe it's time to give one of them something, I guess. Christie. You're going to nominate Christie? I don't think anybody saw this movie. K-pop Demon Hunters. They'll probably have to give it something. I don't know. It should have given me bullet points. I can't read articles like this on the air. Why Jennifer Lawrence says it's very scary waiting for the audience reactions to her movies. Again, you shouldn't talk this way in interviews, Jennifer, because you're worth millions of dollars. There's nothing to be scared of. If your career ended tomorrow, you will live in comfort for the rest of your life, unless you're very, very stupid. So, you complaining that you're nervous about audiences, show me how nervous you are by not talking about politics, because that's something the audience didn't want you to do. It's better that you're talking about your movies. That's definitely an improvement. But just talk about how great it is to work in the industry like the old stars used to do. That's what they do. Oh, I get paid to pretend every day. I love it. I love everything about making movies. I have a great life. I have wonderful kids and blah, blah, blah. Talk about that. I loved working on this Die My Love movie because I portrayed someone with a mental illness, and it was really amazing. It took a lot out of me. I mean, that's the way you say that, right? You don't say, "Oh, it was really tiring." No. You say it took a lot out of me, but it was worth it. Like, you got to make everything super positive, because then everybody goes, "Oh, I like that Jennifer Lawrence." That's what I do when I go out and promote the Pineys. Like, the hardest part about going out and doing your own promotion and marketing books and whatever is you got to be positive all day. Even if somebody comes to the table a miserable effer and they're a jerk and they knock. I have had people like come up to the table and go, "Oh, what's this? Oh, a book, huh?" And then throw the book down and bend the page, and I'm just like, I want to murder you. Not really, but it's annoying. But you can't let that bother you. You just got to smile and go, "Oh, please don't touch the books, kids. How you doing today? Are you having a good time?" Like, you got to be super positive about everything you do. The customer's always right, and that's what you're there for. Now, when you're home by yourself, you can be a miserable effer. You can complain to your husband or whoever. Complain to him. That's what he's for. You're super hot, so he'll understand. He's got to listen to you. So just do that. When you're out in public, don't complain. F1 Las Vegas Grand Prix 2025, the complete guide to tickets, parties, events, and viewing experiences. I guess they're doing that in Las Vegas. Cool. Nancy Myers to Miss Diane Keaton sold out tribute screening of Something's Gotta Give. Okay. More on Saturday Night Live. MCU Spider-Man director John Watts looks back on the web of lives that got his debut clown made. Oh, and this is big news. The Labubu movie is in the works at Sony. I think Sony, I don't know when they turned the corner and decided to go super, super woke, but feels like they're going down a bad path. I mean, the Labubu movie? Are you telling me there's enough people who bought this stupid toy that'll go see a movie? I'm thinking no. Even that Gabby Dollhouse movie, I was like, what? Oh, this was this week. Former Batwoman star Ruby Rose went off on Sydney Sweeney, claiming that it was, Sydney Sweeney is a cretin and, that's why the movie failed. Look, she's miscast. I agree with that. But Ruby Rose would have had the moves to be Christie in a boxing movie, but I can't stand the woman. I mean, after her ridiculous behavior during the Batwoman show, please, I don't want to see you in anything. Indie Phantom, wicked, no good. Exactly. That's about it here. Deadline. More on SNL, of course. Indie Phantom, those chicks are so baked and woke. Yeah, so many of them are. Jack Reacher, author, explains why Prime Video series is an addictive adaptation. I'll tell you, that first season was absolutely riveting. Second season, I kind of like, all right. And now I haven't been back since Alan Richardson opened his damn mouth, so just kind of lost me, dude. I don't know if I have the article here, but Brian Coogler's doing Black Panther 3. No surprise there. Face-off duo Cage and Wu reunite for real-life crime thriller. Nice. Indie Phantom, Jesus, didn't know Brooks was still alive, let alone able to work. Yeah, he's got TDS bad, unfortunately. I don't like the look of Ella McKay at all. What is this? Tom Taylor's Neverlanders goes animated. Prepare for cringe-worthy politics. I mean, how much more can we put in the comic books? Jesus. Daniel Warren Johnson turned Batman into a political punching bag. I mean... Oh, here we go. Goodbye, human actors. Tilly Norwood is the frightening rise of AI movie stars. Tilly Norwood will be an update on your laptop one day. Mark my words. Once they're done off this trend and Tilly Norwood has done this or that, eventually there'll be hundreds of these AI actors and they'll just... Tilly Norwood will come with your laptop and say, hi, good morning. You want me to check your email? Like that kind of stuff, I think, will eventually happen to the AI actors. There'll be like millions of them. You'll be able to make your own. That'll be the whole point. The Wrap, Bill O'Reilly pinpoints powerful exculpatory evidence for Trump and Epstein case, rips emails, nothing there. Yes. How many times do we got to do this? Wow, even The Wrap covered it. Marjorie Taylor Greene apologizes on CNN for toxic politics of her past. That's fair criticism. I don't know what happened to MTG, but she's off my list. She went from super crazy, according to the mainstream media, and I gave her the benefit of the doubt because it was like, at that point, they were saying that about every Republican. So when somebody said, oh, did you hear what... MTG said about Jewish space lasers, I said, oh, that's got to be made up BS, right? But then come to find out, no, she said some pretty crazy things, but seemed like a pretty good Trump supporter, seemed to be abandoning that, had abandoned all that craziness. Now suddenly she's on the View bashing Trump. Like, the hell are you doing? Like, the only people who even were interested in you as a politician are in Trump's camp. You can't bash the man. You can't bash the boss. No, that's not the way things work. You can't go after the big dog for what? What are you going to get out of it? Who's going to like you? The people on The View, those are the last people who you want to like you. Now that you've been on The View and they like you, seemingly, I don't want anything to do with you. That's a huge red flag. Any Republican that gets on The View and The View doesn't like immediately start punching him in the face, I'm like out. I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? That The View doesn't immediately hate you? Did you see? I saw the clips of The View when Donald Trump Jr. and his wife, or then fiance, went on The View. I don't think they ever got married, that fiance, but oh my God, Whoopi Goldberg wouldn't even say the name Donald Trump. They treated them horribly. I don't even know why she went on the show. That was like throwing your most of your fan base right out the window. Trump calls for NBC to fire Seth Meyers immediately. That would be hilarious. They're never going to do it, of course. What Trump's doing is reverse psychology. He doesn't want them to fire Seth. He wants to put them in position that Seth Meyers will be on the network forever and cost them money. Because Colbert's finally out. Kimmel is eventually retiring, I think, next year. Seth Meyers is still there. By doing this, if the network gets rid of him, everybody on their networks, or fans of the network, the woke people, are going to be like, oh, you listen to Trump? If they keep him, they have to keep paying him. So, and I don't think Seth Meyers is bringing in the ratings. It probably doesn't cost nearly as much as Colbert, but it probably costs something. Saudis buying Warner Brothers Discovery is one signature away, says Hollywood producer. Well, that would be a total new player in the field. I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that at all. I don't want the Saudis to own Lord of the Rings. What are the guys on the elephants going to win in a new version? No thanks. Hello, Harry Potter. No, that's Indians. What am I doing? I can't do a Saudi Arabia accent. Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan, and Saudis set to bring back the Snyderverse. Now I really don't like it. Is that true? Come on. No. Don't want this. Can you imagine going back to the Snyder universe? Indie Phantom Cretin. I'm sorry, I missed your comment. I don't know what that is in reference to. But my God, can you imagine bringing back the Snyderverse? I don't think so. That is a very, very bad move, in my opinion. I thought Ben Affleck looked like Bruce Wayne. He probably looked the most like Bruce Wayne than any actor I've ever seen. But as Batman, I think he was no bueno. It wasn't a Batman. I mean, I think if Snyder had, and I don't think Snyder did, had Batman kill people because he was going back to the real origins of Batman, where Batman did kill people with guns. I think he was just doing that. I think he just thought it was cool and he did it. And again, I don't think Zack Snyder is a good storyteller. I think he's just bad. He's a great visual guy. His visuals are friggin' incredible. Even in that still, Batman and Superman look amazing. But, yeah. And you're going to bring back Henry Cavill now? Like, and it's not going to be now if this happens. It'll be like, I don't know, 3 years from now. Okay. That would be nuts. Tobey Maguire rumored to return as Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday. Okay. I could see that. Sure. Claes Bang, rumored for Brainiac Man of Tomorrow. Danish actor Claes Bang. What a name. Okay. Seems like he's right for it. Here it is. James Gunn shoots down DC crime title for Jimmy Olsen series. No, it should be called Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen something. I mean, that's the name everybody knows. What are you going to call it? DC crime? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't take place in Washington, D.C. I get it. It's supposed to be DC Comics. It doesn't make any sense, though, for a TV show. You'd have to call it Metropolis Crime if you called it anything. Here's Black Panther 3 is Ryan Coogler's next film. I don't know what they're going to do with this thing. They need to get a dude back as the Black Panther, I can tell you that. I don't know if anyone read this comic. Atlas Entertainment sets Redcoat movie with Jeff Johns' Ghost Machine. This is like an immortal warrior type character. He becomes immortal during the American Revolution, and then you follow him through time, I guess. So, and in case you were wondering about the He-Man movie, Too Goofy, He-Man test screening reportedly goes all in on the jokes. Now, I think a He-Man movie, a comedy version, could work. But can it work with Jared Leto and this dude who I don't even know? Yeah, I don't think so. Unless they got some great comedy writers, forget it. Over at That Park Place, official sales confirmed Ghost of Yotei sales trail Ghost of Tsushima. Leaks were right. Trades confirmed Millie Bobby Brown filed complaint against David Harbour and it was resolved. So that was before the Stranger Things season 5 big to-do where they appeared together. But I guess they settled things before that. Nintendo announces holiday offers for Black Friday, Cyber Monday 2025. Indie Phantom. MTG proves that she's not crazy for MAGA, just probably crazy. I'll tell you who's crazy is Lauren Boebert. She is a crazy hot red flag. All right. I got to wrap up, man. I went way late this time. Breitbart. DHS brings immigration enforcement operation to Charlotte, North Carolina. I didn't know there was a huge problem in Charlotte. I haven't been there in a while. I used to do the what the hell was the name of the show? Heroes Con. I did Heroes Con for a bunch of years there. Seemed like a pretty stable town, but I haven't been there in years, so maybe not. Maybe it's overrun with illegals. I don't know. Over at entertainment, comedian Andrew Schultz, people happy Charlie Kirk was assassinated for his opinions, want due process for people smuggling fentanyl into our country. That is true. I think that is true. Yeah, I don't think they should get due process, but I do think there should be a process. So I'm worried they're going to strike one of these boats and it's going to be a bunch of fishermen. Now, it hasn't happened yet, and it probably won't happen under Trump because Trump has a very high bar. And he probably said to the military guys, if even one of those guys is innocent on the boat, your career is done. That's what I would have said to him, something like that. So under those circumstances, yeah, maybe I could see during the Trump administration, they could just ding boats all day and they'll all be, they're probably watching them on the satellite and they go, oh, yep, it just came from the drug place and now they're in the water. Get them. But that being said, we don't know that. It would be nice to have some sort of process that they were recording so later when this stuff is exposed, we can say, oh, they watched these guys from the moment they took it out of the poppy fields right to the boat, and all these guys are in the cartel, and that was obvious from the video. But maybe they don't want to tell the Venezuelans and the cartel guys they're looking at them that closely because otherwise they'll change up what they do. I don't know. Indie Phantom. Rose called Sweeney a cretin. LOL. Oh, okay. Yes. LOL indeed. So I think there should be some amount of due process in that you could have a military judge on the boat. He looks at the intelligence, he approves the strike, and then boom. That's what I would want. Something like that. Or at least to let us know that, don't worry, there's a trail of information that we have on these guys, and we know 100% that every single one of them is a vicious, murderous cartel guy, and we got it. We got this under control. Something like that. That's all I'm saying. Or if they entered our international waters, then I have absolutely no problem. You cannot enter our international waters with a boat full of drugs. You absolutely don't have permission of that, but I don't know, legally it might not be as tenable doing it that way, but I hope there's something. And some of the optics on these strikes, it makes Trump kind of look bad. A lot of people think it makes him look good, but the people who sort of on the fence or maybe more independent kind of think, I don't know about this. I think. But Disney axes diversity and DEI from financial report, company event for first time in years. That's a good sign. However, it may be that Disney has merely made some cosmetic changes and it's still in the company. It's just not called diversity and DEI anymore. So keep that in mind. Immigrant comedians skewered Trump's illegal immigration crackdown at New York City Festival. Desperation in the air. Well, I think I know of a festival that ICE could visit. These guys should really shut up if they're here illegally. If you're here legally, you can say whatever the hell you want. You're an American citizen. But if you're here illegally, I don't think you should be making these jokes. That's like drawing attention to yourself, but you do you. John Voight urges Trump to terminate Zohran Mamdani's election victory to stop New York City from becoming a socialist crap city. First off, New York is already a socialist crap city. Second off, Trump does not have the power to do that. And third off, if he did, and even if he did it, the optics would be horrific. I mean, I cannot tell you, the optics of the Trump admin right now are not great. We are in trouble for 2026, I think. However, it's still a year off. There's plenty of time to fix all this. We got to start fixing it now, though. Got to start fixing it now because there are a lot of stupid people, and apparently many of them live in New York City because they elected Zoram Mamdani, the commie. So, yeah, I don't think John Voight is helping by asking this. He can't do it. He can't do it. Nicolas Cage's The Carpenter's Son turns apocryphal text about Jesus' youth into a horror film. See, I thought he was Jesus, but apparently he's, I think he's Joseph, and Jesus is like his son. And there are texts of Jesus in his teenage years, but they didn't make the Bible, is my understanding. So I think it's kind of interesting they made a movie about it. I don't know how accurate it is. I mean, you know Hollywood. It's probably not going to be, it's probably just going to be another excuse to bash Christianity, but we shall see. Here's John Nolte's headline for the review of The Running Man. Running Man 2025 review. Man alive, I miss the 1980s. That pretty much sums it up. American troubadour Todd Snyder, alt country singer, dies at 59. I didn't know who he was, but R.I.P. Comedian Samantha Bee tells Stacey Abrams to attack MAGA. Civility is worthless. Talk about another person with TDS. Holy crap. Samantha Bee has like one of the most severe TDS, even worse than Kathy Griffin, I think. And she had a show for a while, and I think it was very undeserving. The moment she started doing TDS stuff, I was like, you got to cancel this show. Tiffany Haddish doesn't believe the moon landing happened. There's people living right there now. Okay, genius, whatever. That is absolutely insane. Bill Maher, my ex-boss. Gen Z embraced Dems thinking of following same policies that ruined Venezuela. Thank you, last liberal with any sanity. Yeah, they sure did. Bill Maher again, my ex-boss. Dems only create bureaucracy, are worse on affordability. I've been saying it for years. They're terrible at this kind of stuff. The Dems are the kind of people that come in when you've had a hardline Republican guys for like 20 years and they're like, have gone too far. Then maybe you get the Dems to come in to loosen things up. Right? Come on. Stop picking on the gays. Stop picking on the immigrants. Come on, we're going to loosen up some of these laws, let people breathe. That's when you bring in Dems. You don't bring in Dems when you're in a crisis of affordability and taxes and everything else. You definitely don't bring these people in. Their solution is, I got a great new program. We're going to give people back money. How are you going to pay for that? Well, we'll just borrow some more money. That's always what they do. In our state, we are so effing screwed when Mikey Sherrill gets in here. Because the first thing she's going to do is spend a bunch of money suing the Trump administration so she could do all the policies that Trump said don't do. She's going to sue them over the stupid wind turbines they're trying to build off the Jersey Shore. God forbid. I hope Trump killed all those deals. She's going to cram every city here with immigrants. She's going to raise our taxes. She's already trying to get rid of gas stoves. She's already made noise about that. I love my gas stove, by the way. Go F yourself, Cheryl. We got another 4 years of Democratic rule here in New Jersey. Or 6? Is it 6? I don't know. It's awful. It's awful. This woman is a nightmare. We tried like hell to get Jack Citarelli elected, and it didn't work because Jack Citarelli, he had criticized Trump like a moron and didn't really go hard in the paint. But I also think that the Democrats control this state now, and we lost by about the same amount of illegal immigrants that are in this state. So I think there was a message in that from the Democrats. Here's the review, and Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Forgettable as a bad TV episode. That is a horrific review, I think, for a movie. And Paramount Skydance slashing 1,600 more jobs as 600 quit to avoid return to office. Imagine quitting your job in a huff because you don't want to go back to the office, and you work at Paramount. You work in the movie industry and you quit your job. I don't want to go back to the office. You work in the movie industry, you moron. All right. And that's it. I got to wrap this up. It's almost 4 hours and I got to pee again. All right. That's it for me, Tony D. Oh, wait. I had one more list. All right. This is my, I had two more lists, actually. Animated movies. All right. So this is my animated movie list. First is Up. Up is amazing. You should watch it. Number 2, Looney Tunes. All the old Looney Tunes. They're all amazing. Number 3 is Heavy Metal. I know it doesn't count as a movie, the Looney Tunes, but they were ahead of movies. They used to play them in front of the movies. Number 3 is Heavy Metal. Amazing. Number 4 is Akira. I love that movie. Number 5 is Fantasia. Classic. Number 6 is Yellow Submarine. Number 7 is Robin Hood, the Disney animated one. Number 8 is Jungle Book. Number 9 is the South Park movie. And number 10 is Toy Story 1 through 4, with honorable mentions to Wizards, if you haven't seen that. The Lord of the Rings animated, and Wallace and Gromit. I love those. All right. Indie Phantom list time. Up is decent. Heavy Metal is my fave. Oh, it's so good. So good. American Pop, also great. Yeah, I kind of forgot about American Pop. That's pretty good. I would put that under at least honorable mentions. Really, Ralph Bakshi movies in general. Indie Phantom Robin Hood was my first movie. Wow, that's a great flick. Now here are my vampire movies. Number 1, I have to pick From Dusk Till Dawn. I just love that movie because it's so action-packed and so insane. It's so much fun. Number 2, Salem's Lot, the original from like 79. It's friggin' scary as F. Number 3, Near Dark. If you haven't seen Near Dark, it's hillbilly vampires and Bill Paxton at his absolute best. Definitely see Near Dark. Number 4 is The Lost Boys. I love The Lost Boys, even though somehow Joel Schumacher directed it. To this day, I don't know how he did it, but it's a really good movie. Number 5 is Fright Night, an 80s classic if you haven't seen. Indie Phantom, Wallace and Gromit, Feel Good Gold. Yeah. 6 is Blade. 7 is Blade 2. Those two are really the only Blade movies worth watching, I think. The third one's kind of okay, but I didn't put it on the list. Then there's Count Dracula 1977. This is the BBC version. It's really good with Louis Jardin. He's the weakest link in it. Louis Jardin's not a great Dracula, but man, the rest of the cast is so good. The Van Helsing in that is amazing. After that, this is 8, Only Lovers Left Alive. I kind of like this movie. I think it's Jarmusch did it. Then 9 is Let the Right One In. Classic. You got to see that. And the most ultimate classic vampire movie I have to put on the list is Nosferatu 1922. It's kind of an amazing movie when you realize they hired actual impressionist painters to paint the sets. That to me is awesome. And then honorable mentions to of course, Dracula from Bela Lugosi, 1931, Underworld, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some on the vampire list. I do love me a good vampire movie. And Indie Phantom, Salem's Lot, Vampires, Lost Boy, also fun. Vampires. Have I seen that? I think I've seen that. What's the one that John Carpenter almost made a vampire movie? Was that Vampires? The one with James Woods? I forget what that one was. He ran out of money, though, it seems to me. Was it Vampires? Music department. I don't want the music department for John Carpenter. Director. Where the hell's there's directing credits? Oh, God. I have to do this now. Director. Thank you. Vampires, right. James Woods and Carpenter's Vampires, yes. Yeah, the first half of that movie is so badass. Especially the first act. Holy crap. That movie could have been amazing. But man, the ending just... I think they just ran out of money. That's a shame. That's a shame. Ah, I love me some John Carpenter. All right, that's a good one to end on. Indie Phantom, still a blast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Special shout out to my new fan who sent me $10. What was that? Gene of the Movies? I forgot his name already. Hold on. Sky Gene of the Sky Gene Movies. Special shout out to you for sending me 10 buckaroos. And so next week, what am I doing? Next week, free and clear. I may have an extra dog on my hands. Indie Phantoms, the hunting scenes are wicked and lots of boobs. Yes. Yes. James Woods being pulled out of the motel while he's stabbing a vampire is just so badass. God, I want to see the rest of that movie that John Carpenter wanted to do. I really do. But it's clear to me they must have run out of money. But it's highly rated for IMDb. That's 6.1. That's higher than a lot of his movies. But, yeah, it's a shame. All right, I got to hit the bathroom. Thanks for tuning in tonight. See you next Sunday at 7. Next week for me, this week for me. I will be at the Cherry Hill Library on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil back in Cherry Hill Library. On Friday night, I'm going to the Little Mill Country Club in Marlton. This is for members only. Very fancy, just like the yacht club. I'm moving up in the world. I'm doing yacht clubs and country clubs. Look at me. And then on Saturday, I'll be doing Plagio's Winery. And this is in Hamilton, New Jersey. So I'm very psyched to be back there as well. So yeah. And then next week is going to be a holiday week. So I'm taking it mostly easy. But I'm looking for a store to do a signing in for Black Friday. Because I always like to do Black Friday if I can. So if you got a store in the South Jersey area, give me a shout. I'm going to be making some calls on Monday. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We shall see you in the next one.